Chapter 33. How domineering! Guogua's eyes flashed with silver light. Her father's strength was beyond her imagination. She had been the apple of Feng Qiansui's eye since she was a child, and it wasn't that she had never seen an expert before. Her godfather Su Yun was definitely the most domineering one she had ever seen. He was even more domineering than sister Chou Yun. Chou Yun was also secretly surprised. Su Yun's domineering aura was definitely not something an ordinary master could possess. It was a natural domineering aura. That kind of domineering aura made Chou Yun smell a trace of dragon's fury. Let the one surnamed Wang come out. Su Yun's piercing cold eyes caused a deathly stillness wherever he looked. The sound of iron chains rang out behind the crowd, followed by a low and terrifying whimper. Everyone's expression changed, and they all turned around to look. They saw Wang Xuanxi walking confidently at the front, with Chun Sampao following closely behind him without a word. Wei Laosi walked on Chun Sampao's left side with his fat belly, using all his strength to rein in a fierce Tibetan Mastiff. This Tibetan Mastiff was raised by Wang Xuanxi himself. This Tibetan Mastiff was twice as heavy as other dogs when it was born, and when it grew up, it had a huge and terrifying body of nearly 200 pounds. Which was much heavier than most Tibetan Mastiffs. Its erect hair made this Tibetan Mastiff look like a brave lion. Its bloody mouth revealed sharp fangs, and sticky saliva flowed out of its mouth. It was extremely valiant. Everyone made way for it. Everyone knew that this dog was ferocious. Other than Wang Xuanxi and Wei Laosi, who fed it raw beef every day, even Chun Sampao and He kept a respectful distance from it. One person was a little slow in retreating, and the Tibetan Mastiff suddenly whimpered and pounced. It opened its bloody mouth and bit down with a howl. That person screamed and was so scared that he directly squatted on the ground. Fortunately, Wei Laosi held the iron chain tightly and did not let the Tibetan Mastiff bite his own people. Otherwise, who knew what would have happened? This time, everyone kept a respectful distance from this ferocious beast. No one wanted to be bitten by this beast. This beast would go crazy when it saw blood. When Wang Xuanxi saw Han Ke almost beaten to death by Su Yun, the conflict in his heart became even more intense. It would be such a waste if such a talent couldn't be used by him. As for Chun Sampao and Wei Laosi, when they saw the dying Han Ke, a chill suddenly rose in their hearts. Scared, really scared. He was so scared that he didn't dare to look straight at Su Yun. Su Yun, I originally thought that you had thought through my suggestion. Wang Xuanxi suppressed the anger in his heart and tried to calm his tone. However, looking at your current posture, it seems that you don't intend to talk to me peacefully. Su Yun's cold eyes shot straight at Wang Xuanxi. Do you really think that I won't do anything to you just because you are older? Although Wang Xuanxi shuddered under Su Yun's gaze, he still glared at him and said, Su Yun, I have given you enough face. I will give you one last chance. A wise man submits to circumstances. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Hooligans are actually not scary. What's scary is that hooligans are cultured. Guogua helplessly spread out her small hands. Dad said that you don't know how to appreciate favors. What should we do? Hit him. Su Yun smiled at Guogua and shook his fist. To deal with hooligans, you can only be more hooligan than them. Guogua nervously said. Then do I need to leave for a while? Little girl, you are actually still here? I really didn't expect that there would actually be people from the underground world looking for you. Wang Xuanxi's eyes suddenly lit up. He had just noticed Guogua's existence. Wasn't she the person that Mountain Cat was looking for? Why was she still in the medicinal cuisine restaurant? You are quite valuable. If I catch you and give you to Mountain Cat, maybe I can also go to the underground world. Guogua, come to my side. Chou Yun said lightly. A murderous aura also emerged from her body. Her aloof and cold temperament made everyone present unable to help but look at her. However, after seeing her, all of them felt a chill in their bones. They didn't expect that this person actually knew about the underground world. It turned out that their hiding place was exposed to Mountain Cat by this bastard. He deserved to die. Upon hearing this, Su Yun also suddenly had a terrifying murderous aura. His powerful aura was like the Grim Reaper holding a scythe and glaring at everyone. It imperceptibly gave everyone an incomparably shocking pressure. Wang Xuanqi also felt this huge pressure. His expression suddenly changed. Su Yin, I have already given you enough face. Even today, I gave you a way out in front of so many people. You are the one who doesn't want to leave, so don't blame me. Su Yin sneered. You dare to touch the medicinal cuisine restaurant? You don't want to live anymore. If you dare to touch my goddaughter, you can only go to hell. Su Yin, you think too highly of yourself. Wang Xuanqi's eyes revealed a cruel and cold light. Lao Si, release the dog. Wei Lao Si already couldn't wait to use the evil dog in his hands to avenge himself. When he heard that his boss had finally spoken, he didn't even think about it, and directly released the iron chain in his hands. He patted the dog's head. Mastiff King, go. Bite him to death for me. Bite him fiercely. The ferocious evil dog didn't have any patience. It pounced on Su Yin like a tiger. It raised its huge head and angrily opened its bloody mouth, just like a hungry tiger from hell. Guogua was so scared that she almost squatted on the ground. These people were so shameless. They actually used this kind of thing to fight. Even if they won, it would be an unfair victory. If they were bitten by such a huge monster, even if they were Superman, they would definitely die. Su Yin faced the huge monster that was roaring towards him, but he didn't even move an inch. Wang Xuanqi and the group of people from the Fourth Wolf Gang couldn't help but praise the Mastiff King's bravery in their hearts. It could actually scare people silly. Although Wang Xuanqi was still reluctant to let go of Su Yin, he had already decided that since he couldn't use him, he would directly destroy him. However, just as the majestic and ferocious animal opened its sharp teeth and angrily bit Su Yin's body moved slightly to the side and dodged the terrifying bite. The huge teeth bit the air and made a loud crunching sound. The Tibetan Mastiff also felt that its mouth was empty and quickly realized that its attack had failed. There was not a single person present who wasn't stunned. Everyone wanted to know how he had dodged it. How could he have dodged it? The failure of the attack completely enraged the vicious dog. Wang Xuanqi's most valued Mastiff King let out a loud panting sound from its nose. It raised its ferocious head again and stared at Su Yin. Woo. The beast's throat made a dull sound as if it was giving Su Yin an ultimatum. Wang Xuanqi sneered. He didn't want to believe that Su Yin would be so lucky every time. The Tibetan Mastiff would definitely tear him into pieces. Woo. The Tibetan Mastiff opened its bloody mouth again and attacked with a roar. However, Chou Yen didn't give the beast a chance to attack Su Yin again. Her slender body suddenly bounced up and flashed across the ferocious Tibetan Mastiff's neck like lightning. The huge dog's head fell to the ground and thick black dog blood instantly spurted out from the neck, like fireworks exploding on the 15th day of the first lunar month. Except for Su Yin, no one at the scene could see clearly how Chou Yen attacked just now. The huge body also fell to the ground. After that, the entire dog farm quieted down, including the hundreds of ferocious Tibetan Mastiffs in the cages. Even they smelled danger. Wang Xuanqi's heart was full of fear. When the woman killed the dog just now, she was completely like a devil from hell. Could it be that they were also fierce people from the underground world like lynx? You better not do anything stupid. Wang Xuanqi's legs were already weak because of Chou Yen. You are from the underground world, right? I know someone. I know Lynx. You'd better not go too far. That Lynx died long ago. Su Yin said disdainfully. I'll send you to see him now. What? Wang Xuanqi was so scared that he almost peed his pants. In his heart, Lynx was a demon-like existence. He actually died? Then who were these two people in front of him? Weren't they scarier than demons? Only then did Wang Xuanqi understand that he was in trouble. And it was a big trouble. Suddenly, there was a rush of hurried and noisy footsteps at the entrance. Chang and a group of more than 10 brothers rushed in with knives and sticks. After the gangsters saw Su Yin, they all shouted, "Brother Yin! Brother Yin, I'm here to help you." Chang looked like he was ready to die. He struggled for a long time before making the decision. Su Yin had always been good to him, but he didn't have the courage to help him. Now that Su Yin broke into the Four Wolf Gang's lair alone, it was a matter of life and death. Chang had to come even if he had to risk being beaten to death. He definitely couldn't let Brother Yin fight alone. My dad and sister can take care of those small fries in a few seconds. Don't cause trouble. Guoguo's face didn't show any fear. Then Chang and the gangsters were stunned by the tragic death of the Tibetan Mastiff in front of them. They were all shocked. Was this done by a human? Such a thick dog head. Even with an axe, it would be hard to chop it off, right? How is it? You and your friends are all shocked, right? Guoguo was proud. Chou Yun was so powerful. Back then, so many people wanted to harm her, but they were all defeated by Chou Yun. Su Yun smiled and looked at Chang. He sighed. What are you doing here? Aren't you afraid of death? Brother Yin, I can't watch you guys. Chang swallowed the words die. He didn't know that Su Yin and the gang were so fierce. At this time, Wang Xuanxi had already thought of running away. He admitted that he was really scared. Then he heard Wang Xuanxi roar, "Go. Everyone who fights today will be counted as 30,000 yuan." As the saying goes, when there is a great reward, there will be brave men. Hundreds of gangsters rubbed their palms together. Brothers, I'll treat you guys after we kill them. I don't have money, so let's go to the night market. Chang also roared in high spirits. Then he raised the machete in his hand. Kill them. The gangsters raised their machetes and shouted. Their momentum was like a rainbow. Chapter 34. Chang raised his mountain-splitting machete and tore at his opponent's flesh. The smell of blood made him more courageous as he fought. The clanging sound of metal colliding was like a messy symphony. Chou Yun's expression was calm. Wherever her ghostly figure went, people fell to the ground in pain. No one could even see clearly how she attacked. More than 130 members of the Four Wolves gang were defeated in an instant and were forced to retreat. Su Yin picked up Guoguo. With Chou Yun there was no need for him to do anything. Chen Sampao and Wei Laosi saw that the situation was bad and immediately ran away. They had no more teeth in their mouths to fight with Su Yun. If this continued, the two of them would be the unlucky ones. They had just been discharged from the hospital. They couldn't go back and accompany Erhe, right? Wang Xuanxi was scared when he saw that his two right-hand men had run away. He wanted to find a hole to hide in. Dad, that guy wants to run away. Guoguo pointed at Wang Xuanxi and shouted. Su Yin smiled. Then why don't you chase after him with Dad? No, Guoguo still has important things to do. Guoguo shook her head. Put me down. What can you do? Su Yin was confused. Guoguo waved her small hand impatiently. Men don't try to guess a woman's mind. You won't understand even if you try. Su Yin was embarrassed. Women. Sigh, this little demon was definitely smart. Indeed, Su Yin could never understand what Guoguo was thinking. Dad, what are you waiting for? He's gone. Guoguo pointed at the place where Wang Xuanxi disappeared. Why aren't you chasing after him? Su Yin couldn't care less about what mysterious things Guoguo was going to do. He went straight to the place where Wang Xuanxi disappeared. This guy actually had a connection with the underground world's links. Of course, Su Yin wouldn't let go of such a sinister guy. Wang Xuanxi ran all the way. His ears were filled with the roars of the Tibetan Mastiffs. In his panic, he couldn't find Chen Sampao and Wei Laosi. He only had one thought now. Run. Suddenly, a cold voice came from behind Wang Xuanxi. Do you think you can escape? Wang Xuanxi's psychological defenses were completely crushed. This kind of mental pressure made him completely collapse. He suddenly stopped as if he had gone mad. Instead of running to the back door, he rushed to his secret storage room in the kennel. Su Yin was slightly taken aback and slowly walked towards Wang Xuanxi. Looking at Su Yin, who was approaching him step by step, Wang Xuanxi took out the key in a hurry and opened the heavy security door of the storage room behind him. Without thinking, he hid in the room and locked the door from the inside with his trembling hands. Wang Xuanxi, who had been following his father around since he was 5 years old, was now 40 years old. However, this was the first time he felt what true fear was. No one had ever been able to threaten him like this before. Today was the first time. When Wang Xuanxi saw the woman cut off the Tibetan Mastiff's head, he was scared. People always had a weak side. People who didn't know fear often didn't face real fear. Wang Xuanxi pressed his back against the heavy security door, his heart beating wildly. This storage room was his last line of defense. The wall was hung with the guns he had gotten from the black markets all over the years. There were pistols, hunting rifles, and even Type 95 rifles. Wang Xuanqi, who was forced into a desperate situation, finally went completely crazy. He picked up a rifled hunting rifle and quickly loaded it. This hunting rifle was the weapon he used to kill the crazy Tibetan mastiffs. It was very powerful and basically killed the dogs with one shot. Quang! The heavy security door rushed out with a strong gust of air and smashed directly into Wang Xuanqi's back. Wang Xuanqi's face was slammed into the wall, and blood immediately flowed out of his nose. Su Yin walked into the storage room and couldn't help but sigh. Damn, there are so many good things. This is enough to sentence you to 8 to 10 years. Su Yin, I'm going to kill you today. Wang Xuanqi turned around and glared at Su Yin. He directly picked up the hunting rifle he was most familiar with and aimed at Su Yin's head without hesitation. But everything was a step too late. Su Yin had already flashed in front of Wang Xuanqi and grabbed the barrel of the hunting rifle. Wang Xuanqi was shocked and quickly wanted to pull the rifle back. Su Yin casually let go of his hand. Shouldn't I be the one saying that to you? Wang Xuanqi aimed again, but instantly turned pale with fright. His hunting rifle's barrel was actually flattened by Su Yin's grab. Flop! Wang Xuanqi knelt straight on the ground. His heart was like stagnant water, without any waves. A huge sense of fear came wave after wave. Please let me live, I'll give you money. 100,000? 200,000? 500,000. I'll give you as much as you want. Suddenly, Chang's shout came from outside. Brother Yin, there are policemen. Run. The dog farm suddenly became crazy. Whether it was Chang's people or the fourth Wolfgang's people, they were like rabbits that saw an eagle. One ran faster than the other. Don't move. Stop right there. Or I'll shoot. Su Yin frowned. The voice was so familiar. Damn, could it be Qin Waner? Cho Yun walked lightly to the door of the storage room where Su Yin was. She said to Su Yin inside. Qin Waner is here, she's alone. What a brainless guy with big breasts. Su Yin was speechless. Fortunately, he came today. Otherwise, Qin Waner would be caught by Wang Xuanqi and fed to the dogs. Wang Xuanqi's eyes lit up, and he took the opportunity to grab a pistol. Just as he was loading the gun, Su Yin suddenly raised his leg, and a kick that covered the sky fiercely landed on Wang Xuanqi's face. Wang Xuanqi's entire face seemed to have been dyed red. His entire vision turned black, and he completely fainted. Su Yin smiled slightly. Qin Waner came at the right time, and someone would give him the credit. Where's Guogua? Cho Yun suddenly asked. Su Yin was stunned and stared at her. She's not with you? I left her outside just now. Cho Yun's face suddenly changed. She always thought that Guogua was with Su Yin, so she didn't pay much attention to it. Now she couldn't find Guogua. At this time, Qin Waner, who didn't catch anyone, rushed to the backyard of the kennel angrily. She saw Su Yin and Cho Yun at a glance. Why are you here? Cho Yun didn't have time to pay attention to her. She quickly went to the front yard to find Guogua. Hey, where are you going? Qin Waner saw that Cho Yun didn't treat her seriously, so she was naturally a little unhappy. You showed up at the right time. As the deputy director, why don't you bring a few soldiers with you? Su Yin was quite helpless. Sometimes Qin Waner was too impulsive. Maybe it was because she was too young. Qin Waner didn't intend to hide anything from Su Yin. Yes, it's just me. I can only bring people to arrest Wang Xuanqi if I find evidence of his crimes. Su Yin pointed at the secret storeroom. Now we have the evidence, right? He's hiding guns, and quite a lot of them. Only then did Qin Waner notice the scene in the warehouse. On the wall that looked like a display wall, there were nearly 20 guns of different sizes. Now the country was very strict on the investigation of illegal guns. She didn't expect Wang Xuanqi to go against the wind and make waves. I've caught him for you. You don't have to be embarrassed, Su Yin said. As usual, you can take the credit. I still don't want to get into trouble with the police. Qin Waner was really shocked. How did you do it? Su Yin waved his hand. I'll explain to you later. Guogua is missing. I'm going to find Guogua. What? Qin Waner was even more speechless. Why did you bring the child out? Su-Yun rolled his eyes at Qinwan. Do you think I want to? Qinwaner didn't have time to catch Wang Xuanxi. She followed Su-Yun and ran to the front yard of the kennel to meet Cho-Yun. Except for the barking of the dogs, there were only the three of them in the large kennel. You haven't found her yet? Su-Yun's expression was quite relaxed. Cho-Yun trembled. If anything happened to Guogua, she would never forgive Su-Yun. Su-Yun suddenly shouted to the sky, Guogua! When the little devil said that there was something wrong, Su-Yun felt that something was wrong. Now, in the blink of an eye, they couldn't find her. There must be a reason. Su-Yun was not worried that anything would happen to Guogua. With her intelligence, if she was in danger, she would have called for help. Why are you shouting? You scared me. Guogua's childish voice came from the second floor of the office building in the kennel. F***ck. Su-Yun was speechless. You hid without saying anything. Cho-Yun was almost scared to death. Hearing Guogua's voice, Cho-Yun, who was almost angry, immediately covered her face with tenderness. Guogua, where did you go? Come down. Guogua. Do you know that you almost scared us to death? Qinwaner's heart was in her throat. With a series of footsteps, Guogua rushed down the stairs with a bright smile. Sister Wan-er, why are you here? I came to save you. Guogua, why is your belly so big? Qinwaner was stunned. Nothing. Guogua stuck out her tongue and hid behind Cho-Yun, as if she was escaping from something. Su-Yun also frowned. Guogua's behavior was really strange. Although she was wearing a tutu skirt, her belly shouldn't be so big, right? Could it be that he had secretly eaten something upstairs? When are we going back? Guogua couldn't stay still. Qinwaner, I'll leave this place to you. Hee, don't forget me when you get promoted. Su-Yun grinned. We'll go back to the medicinal cuisine house and wait for you. At this time, Cho-Yun had already turned around and left. Guogua walked carefully and turned her head with a smile. Sister Wan-er, see you tonight. Qinwaner was speechless. These guys, but now was not the time to argue with them. Qinwaner quickly returned to the warehouse where many guns were hidden. After handcuffing the unconscious Wang Xuanxi, she called the police station. After Su-Yun and Cho-Yun left, they called Chang and asked him to find a way to go back and get the dead dog. Dog meat had excellent protein, especially the globulin ratio. Tibetan Mastiff meat was even better. Eating it could strengthen the body, promote blood circulation, and activate a man's function in bed. Hearing this, Chang and his gang didn't care about the danger of the police at the scene. They drove back and dragged the dead Tibetan Mastiff away under Qinwaner's nose. When Qinwaner heard the noise and rushed out, they had already run away. Qinwaner was so angry that she stomped her feet, but she couldn't chase after them because of a dog. When Lu Guangming, the director of the Wenhui district branch, arrived at the scene, he was shocked. The most famous Tibetan Mastiff domestication base in the city was in a mess. The notorious leader of the Four Wolves gang, Wang Xuanxi, was lying on the ground half dead. The guns and ammunition in the house were enough to sentence him to 8 to 10 years. Little Qin, did you do all this? Lu Guangming's eyes almost popped out. This was too exaggerated. Even if he used all the police force, it wouldn't be so powerful. Qinwaner suddenly felt numb all over. She could only bite the bullet and say, yes. Chapter 35. When Su-Yun and the others returned, the first floor of the medicinal cuisine restaurant had already been cleaned by Panggang's people. Panggang was drawing a layout on a piece of paper. Although it wasn't as professional as the designers who used CAD to draw it, nor was it as beautiful as the renderings, he drew it very seriously. Then he took the drawing and discussed the plan with Ruan Qingshuang. 7 to 8 workers were listening very seriously. Mom. Guogua rushed to Ruan Qingshuang excitedly. Ruan Qingshuang pretended to be angry and scolded. Why didn't you say goodbye to me when you went out? You made me think that you were picked up and sold off. Guogua stuck out her tongue and looked up to see Ruan Qingshuang secretly looking at Su-Yun. Mom, if you miss Dad, just say it. Dad misses you anyway, right, Dad? Yes. Su-Yun's mouth twitched. Mom, let's go upstairs. Guogua has something good to give you. Guogua looked proud and pulled Ruan Qingshuang away. Ruan Qingshuang was confused. but she quickly followed Guogua upstairs. However, once Guogua went upstairs, she exposed herself. Every time she took a step, a stack of money would fall out of her skirt. Pa pa pa, a total of 7 stacks. Wan Qingshuang's eyes almost popped out. Su Yin finally knew what Guogua did when she disappeared in the 4th Wolf Gang's lair. She was looting a burning house. She was really a demon. Cho Yun didn't say anything. She turned around and walked out of the medicinal cuisine restaurant to patrol. The world was really unpredictable. Since when did the little princess who didn't know the concept of money become someone who would bend over for tens of thousands of yuan? Guogua suddenly realized that her clothes were loose. She quickly squatted down and picked up all the money that had fallen on the ground. Then she quickly ran upstairs. Upstairs, Guogua pushed all the money to Wan Qingshuang. She was excited and looked forward to praise. Mom, this is what those bad guys owe you. Huh. Where did you get so much money? Wan Qingshuang was completely shocked. She couldn't close her mouth. Her face was slightly angry. What did you do? Did you steal it? Guogua saw that her mother was not only unhappy but also angry. She felt a little wronged. What I did was what I should do. Guogua, how did I educate you? Wan Qingshuang was furious when she heard that. Su Yin smiled and walked upstairs. Sister Shuang, just accept it. I asked Guogua to make it. What? Wan Qingshuang was stunned. Guogua felt relieved. She quickly ran behind Su Yin with an expression that said, Daddy is the best in the world. If the 4th Wolf Gang can come and smash the medicinal cuisine restaurant, we can also smash their doghouse. Su Yin said it as if it was natural. This is compensation for the financial loss. We haven't even asked them for compensation for the psychological loss. They are very kind. What did you do? Are you crazy? Wan Qingshuang almost fainted when she heard Su Yun's words. Su Yun actually said that they went to smash the 4th Wolf Gang. Wan Qingshuang was shocked. They were crazy to go against the notorious local gangsters of Hudong City. Guogua touched her little nose. Mom, Sister Wan will support us. We are not afraid. Did you cause trouble for Wan Wan Qingshuang was stunned. Guogua immediately denied. Of course not. Su Yin knew that there would be no result even if they continued to argue. Sister Shuang, don't worry. The 4th Wolf Gang won't cause trouble for us anymore. Wan has already arrested their boss. Wan Qingshuang was stunned. Really? You can ask her tonight and she will believe me. Su Yin grinned. You can keep the money. Wan Qingshuang was relieved. She believed that Qin Wan wouldn't allow them to mess around. However, she didn't know that Guogua had hidden it well. Even Su Yin and Cho Yun just found out. Qin Wan was still in the dark. Chang Zi and Xiao Fei took the dead Tibetan Mastiff to find pockmarked white in the Dongguan market. They directly skinned and deboned it, and brought dozens of kilograms of dog meat to the medicinal cuisine restaurant. Dog meat was rich in nutrients. Su Yin decided to have a dog meat hot pot dinner in the evening. He asked Chang Zi to call over a dozen brothers who helped in the afternoon, and also asked Peng Gang and a group of renovation workers to stay. I'm so hungry. Guogua was drooling when she heard about hot pot. I heard that dog meat nourishes the kidney. Dad, are you weak? Damn. I'm not weak at all. Su Yin was sweating. Guogua patted her chest and was relieved. Phew. Then I can rest assured about my mom's happiness. Phew. Phew. That was a polysyllabic word. Everyone was stunned. Wan Qingshuang's face turned red. She wished she could find a hole to crawl into. Su Yun's smile froze on his face. He didn't know if it was a blessing or a curse for him to have this girl as his daughter. Could he say that when there were no outsiders? That would be nice. There were so many people here. It was not the time to say that. Guogua didn't want to pay attention to a group of petrified adults. She emphasized to Su Yun again. Dad, I'm hungry. Su Yun didn't dare to say anything. He turned around and went to the kitchen. Chang and Xiao Fei didn't hesitate and went in to help. Not long after, Xiangzi's group of more than a dozen people also came to the medicinal cuisine house one after another. Their anger quickly became active. Guogua commanded the group of delinquents to set up tables and chairs. The group of delinquents bowed down to Guogua, because Guogua was the boss of their boss. They were divided into 3 tables. 2 hours later, 3 hot pots of hot pot were served. At the same time, Qin walked in with a smile. Chang and his gang were stunned when they saw Qin. This police officer was too fierce. She had tracked them all the way here. Now that they were caught red-handed, they couldn't run away even if they wanted to. I was wondering why the dog was gone. Qin sniffed hard and said to Su Yun impolitely, "Get me a bowl and a pair of chopsticks. Are you waiting for me to expose you?" Su Yun didn't get angry at all. He obediently got Qin a bowl and a pair of chopsticks. Xiangzi and the others, who had been startled for a moment, began to make guesses. They even whispered and analyzed how the police beauty had been pushed down by Big Brother Yin. "Why did you come back so late today?" Wan Qingshuang asked with concern. Qin rolled her eyes at Su Yun. "It's because I had to clean up after some people in the station. It's so annoying." Xiangzi and the others were sweating when they heard this. Su Yun was speechless. How many people would want to fight for such a huge contribution? He gave it to her for free, but she was still annoyed. She really didn't have a grateful heart. "Did Su Yun and Guogua cause you trouble?" Wan Qingshuang became serious. Qin heard the change in Sister Qingshuang's tone and explained, "No, they did me a big favor. They got rid of evil for the people." "Did you really arrest the boss of the 4th Wolf Gang?" Wan Qingshuang almost shouted in surprise. This sentence scared Pang Gang and the other renovation workers. "Oh my God, this policewoman is too fierce. She even dares to touch the boss of the 4th Wolf Gang?" Qin quickly pulled Wan Qingshuang and asked her to keep a low profile. "Sister Qingshuang, the 4th Wolf Gang will no longer exist in Hudong City. You don't have to be afraid of them causing trouble anymore." "Really?" Wan Qingshuang thought she was dreaming. Guogua pouted and snorted. "Mom didn't believe me when I said it." "TSK." Wan Qingshuang knew she had wronged Guogua. She picked up a piece of meat and put it in Guogua's bowl. "Guogua is so powerful. Are you happy now?" "Dad is even more powerful." Guogua said it unintentionally, but the gang couldn't help thinking about the effect of dog meat. They all looked at each other. Su Yun didn't deny. "Of course." Qin called the police station immediately after Su Yun and his gang left. She said she found a lot of guns and ammunition in Wang Xuanxi's Tibetan Mastiff breeding base. At first, the police station thought she was joking. When they were about to ask Inspector Liu if he wanted to confirm it, Qin sent a picture of the scene to Inspector Liu. This shocked Lu Guangming. He had never run out of the office so anxiously. He shouted for everyone to get ready and go to the police station immediately. Since Wang Xuanxi was arrested, the 4th Wolf Gang was disbanded. Because of the huge amount of guns and ammunition, they closed the entire Tibetan Mastiff breeding base. They didn't expect Wang Xuanxi to be so ambitious. He actually stored so many weapons. It seemed that he really wanted to dominate Hudong City. This case made Qin Er's position in the Wenhui District Police Station rise to an unprecedented height. Even Superintendent Lu Guangming had a kind smile on his face, because Qin had made great contributions one after another, making the Wenhui District Police Station the best among all the police stations in Hudong City. Qin found an excuse, saying that she wasn't feeling well, and ran back early. She knew that when the leader of the police station went, she wouldn't be able to escape. She would have to go to the celebration party. Then a group of people would ask about her family and introduce her to a boyfriend. The 2 million yuan hot pot feast made everyone in the house happy. The Tibetan Mastiff, which grew up eating beef, was indeed the king of mastiffs. Its meat was tender and chewy. It was delicious. Xiangzi ordered his younger brother to buy 10 packs of beer, and the group of men drank to their heart's content. During the meal, Su Yun told Peng Gang that he would start working overtime tomorrow. Su Yun would pay him 3 times more. However, he would also work 3 times faster than other people. Peng Gang drank a glass of beer and agreed. He would let him open for business in a week. When everyone left, it was already 10 o'clock at night. Chang and his men said that they didn't have enough to drink, so they went to the barbecue night market. Peng Gang ordered all the workers to go back to sleep. He said that they would gather early the next morning and work hard. Although the first floor of the medicinal cuisine restaurant was smashed beyond recognition, The second floor was intact. Cho Yun went upstairs an hour ago. Guogua thought of something and ran upstairs with Qin Wan. Su Yun and Ruan Qingshuang stayed behind to clean up the battlefield. Then, they closed the door and went upstairs. Wow. Sister Wan. Your breasts are bigger than my mom's. It won't fit, right? Chapter 36. You little pervert, don't touch my breasts. Qin Wan's crazy voice came from the room. It won't explode if I touch it. Is it fake? Guogua said disdainfully. Oh, you're touching it again. Sister Wan, you won't break it, right? It's so expensive. Why don't you try the 36G one I bought for myself? Qin Wan collapsed and hit her head on the bed. This little brat really made her crazy. She actually bought underwear for herself, and it was 36G in size. She really couldn't understand how Ruan Qingshuang's gentle and elegant mother could give birth to such a cunning and strange little devil. Su Yun smirked and walked to the door of Qin Wan's room. He knocked on the door 3 times and deliberately said loudly, Qin Wan, do you need my help? Su Yun. If you dare to come in, I'll kill you. Qin Wan's frightened voice immediately came out with a 100 decibels high voice. She grabbed the clothes in front of Guangguang's body. Guogua shouted inside. Dad, come and help me. I'll open the door for you right away. Guogua. Qin Wan swore that this was the most speechless father and daughter she had ever seen. Ruan Qingshuang shook her head helplessly. These guys really made her dumbfounded. She never thought that her life would become so colorful one day. Qin Wan, hurry up and come out. I have something important to tell you. If you don't come out, I'll really go in. Su Yun continued to scare Qin Wan. Then he sat on the sofa and said to Ruan Qingshuang, It's about Guogua's life. As her mother, you should also listen. Ruan Qingshuang was stunned and looked at Su Yun with a confused face. Guogua was only 7 years old. Wasn't it a bit early to talk about life? As a mother, she hadn't even thought about her life yet. Qin Wan had just been scared by Su Yun. She didn't care about her beauty. After putting on her clothes, she pulled Guogua out and said, What are you doing? What serious business do you have to tell me? It was not that Qin Wan did not want to believe Su Yun, but Su Yun never told her when he was doing something serious. For example, he did not ask her to go to the 4th Wolfgang's den today. School is about to start. Help me find a school for Guogua, Su Yun smiled. Guogua can't stay in the medicinal cuisine restaurant every day. Ruan Qingshuang's eyes flashed. She did not expect Su Yun to be so considerate. She had thought about Guogua's school before. She had also consulted 2 primary schools, but Guogua did not have a household registration certificate. She could not go to primary school here at all. The better the school, the stricter the management. Qin Wan nodded. She did not think it was a problem at all. No problem. The best primary school in Hudong City is the Bilingual International School. It is famous all over the country. Ruan Qingshuang looked helpless. I have asked. Guogua doesn't have a household registration certificate. Basically, no school will accept her. Qin Wan frowned. No household registration? As a mother you... Wait, Guogua doesn't even have a household registration, right? Sister Qingshuang, were you too young when you gave birth to Guogua? So, what are you talking about? Guogua is my. Ruan Qingshuang was afraid that Guogua would be sad. She did not want to mention that she was picked up. However, Guogua's face was bright. She said without any pressure, I was picked up by my mother. Qin Wan's entire body froze. It was no wonder that their personalities were so different. Su Yun raised his eyebrows. How about it? We are all strangers in this place. You are a local girl. This is not difficult for you, right? Guogua looked at Qin Wan expectantly. Sister Wan, Guogua's life depends on you. Qin Wan looked at Guogua, who was in tears. She thought of Guogua's tragic identity of being picked up. Her heart suddenly ached. How could such a cute child be so pitiful? She must solve this problem for Guogua. Guogua, don't worry. Sister Wan will let you study in the best primary school. Qin Wan patted her chest and promised. Guogua stuck out her tongue. I love Sister Wan. Just now, when someone touched you, you screamed so loudly. You patted yourself so hard. Aren't you afraid that you will explode? It seems that it is true. Of course it is true. Qinhuan was so angry that she gritted her teeth. This little girl dared to doubt her chest. Wait, was she thanking her? Su Yin was a little dizzy. Guogua was so happy. If only he was a little girl, he could help his big sister put on her underwear. Look again and I will dig your eyes out. Qinhuan's eyes shot a cold light at Su Yin. Wan Qingshuang grabbed Qinhuan's hand. Waner, I don't know how to thank you. Sister Qingshuang, why are you so polite to me? Qinhuan pretended to be angry. Are you treating me as an outsider? Wan Qingshuang quickly waved her hand and said, Of course not. Guogua also flattered. Sister Waner is not an outsider. I am thinking of letting her be my stepmother. I am just afraid that my mother will be jealous. Wan Qingshuang decided that she could not let Guogua be anymore. She stood up and carried Guogua. She smiled at Guogua embarrassedly, then strode back to the room and scolded Guogua. If Guogua continues to be mischievous, I will lock you in the small dark room. Go back to the room with your mother and sleep. Fortunately, I am not her mother. Qinhuan patted her chest and sighed. If she had a daughter like that, she would definitely collapse. Su Yin drank the water in the cup. I will have to trouble you with Guogua. Thank you in advance. Yo, when did you become so sweet? Qinhuan looked as if the sun had risen from the north. Su Yin snorted. Then I will curse you to always wear that underwear. Bastard Su Yin. Qinhuan grabbed the sofa pillow and hid it. Su Yin quickly got up and ran back to his room to hide. After they all fell asleep, Cho Yun came to Su Yun's room again. She had to insist on the acupuncture. Only when her internal injuries were healed could she become the original violent fox venerable. Only then would she have the ability to protect Guogua. Su Yun had already prepared the silver needles in the room. He smiled and waited for Cho Yun to take off her clothes. After the first struggle, Cho Yun did not care anymore. She turned her back to Su Yun and took off her clothes without hesitation. You may not be used to it today. You have to hold on. Although the clotted blood in your body has been cleared, there is still a special internal force causing trouble. Su Yun took out the silver needles as he spoke. Cho Yun nodded and did not hesitate. She took out the silver needles. She decided that if she could do it, she would not let Su Yun do it. Su Yun took the silver needles and pierced them into the Lingtai point. 100 internal forces turned into a strand and slowly entered Cho Yun's body through the silver needles. A strange internal force suddenly rose in Cho Yun's body and the two internal forces collided. Cho Yun felt a sharp pain in her body and her meridians were in a mess. Cho Yun closed her eyes and could not hold the silver needles in her hand. She threw them to the ground. Calm down. Su Yun's heart skipped a beat. He did not expect this to happen. Cho Yun was hit by the 7 deadly palms. Although Su Yun knew that there were many experts in the world, the person who was able to practice the 7 deadly palms to such perfection was definitely a top-tier expert. Or it could be a super expert who had broken through the bottleneck of a top-tier expert. Su Yun could not help but take a deep breath. It was no wonder that Cho Yun was willing to separate from Guogua. The person who wanted to harm them had such terrifying strength. A sharp internal force suddenly broke through Su Yun's silver needles and went directly into Cho Yun's Ren Meridian Zhong Ting point. Not good. Su Yun was shocked. At this time, he did not care about the propriety between men and women. His left palm hit Cho Yun's left shoulder. The moment Cho Yun turned in front of him, Su Yun's right hand had already picked up a silver needle and pierced it into Cho Yun's Tanzhong point. The internal force from Cho Yun's Zhong Ting point was instantly dissolved by Su Yun's internal force and was pulled out of the body through the silver needle. Cho Yun's closed eyes suddenly opened, and a mouthful of blood gushed out. Blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. Phew, that was close. Su Yun's forehead was sweating. If he had hesitated just now, the internal force would have broken through Cho Yun's Tanzhong and Yutang points and attacked Cho Yun's heart and lungs. At that time, it would be too late to do anything. When everything calmed down, Su Yun realized that Cho Yun was facing him directly. He did not deliberately take advantage of her. It was a matter of life and death. Because he was afraid that he would not be able to control his nosebleed, Soo-yun quickly turned his head away. He was also afraid that Cho-yun would suddenly flip out. The Longyuan flexible sword was not a kitchen knife that could cut tofu. Cho-yun did not have the time to care about these things. She tried her best to adjust her breathing until her meridians were smooth. During the whole process, Soo-yun was leaning against the window and looking at the night scene. A few drunken hoodlums vomited on each other, which made Soo-yun very disgusted. The night scene outside and the night scene inside were like heaven and earth. Cho-yun finally calmed her breathing. Although she knew that Soo-yun had seen her body, she did not say anything. She only silently put on her coat. She did not blame Soo-yun, because she knew that she owed her entire life to Soo-yun. Before leaving, Cho-yun took out the small bottle that Soo-yun had given her and placed it on the table. The 9 Treasures Soul Return Pill is very precious. You can help me with acupuncture and use your internal force to dissolve the internal force in my body. I don't need this pill anymore, so I'll return it to you. Soo-yun took it and threw it back to Cho-yun. I have a lot of vigorous pills. You can eat it as a snack for fun. What? Cho-yun was shocked by Soo-yun again and again. He actually said that he had a lot of these things, and that she could eat it as a snack for fun? It could not be described as extravagant. Soo-yun stopped joking with her and said seriously, maybe this thing is precious to you, but it's not that important to me. Today, I was able to use the silver needle to pull out the internal force left in your body by the 7 extinction palms, because you have the medicinal power of this thing to protect your body. If you want to get better soon, then continue to eat it. Acupuncture may not be necessary. Cho-yun really did not know what to say. She turned around and left Soo-yun's room. Cho-yun did not know how she could repay Soo-yun. It was useless to say more. Cho-yun secretly told herself that her life belonged to Soo-yun in the future. Chapter 37. Early in the morning, Pang Gang brought 7 or 8 workers and a truck full of light industrial materials to the medicinal cuisine restaurant. They started working according to the design they had made the day before. Soo-yun also woke up early. He made delicious shisandra and longan porridge for the 4 beauties who lived in the restaurant before waking them up. Guogua's stomach growled when she saw the food, so she started eating. Qin Waner also quickly finished her breakfast and went to work. Cho-yun went to inspect the medicinal cuisine restaurant before coming back for breakfast. Due to the arrival of the 3 underground masters, Cho-yun was now much more cautious. Although Ruan Qingshuang was a little heartbroken that the medicinal cuisine restaurant had been completely destroyed, she still smiled when she saw the people around her. She believed that as long as she persevered, something beautiful would definitely happen. After breakfast, Guogua complained that school was about to start, so she had to go to the amusement park. Ruan Qingshuang could not persuade her, so she took her along. Cho-yun followed closely behind. Soo-yun stayed. It was not that he was worried about Pang Gang's skills, but because Chang had called and said he wanted to help. Soo-yun had something to say to him. Changzi had nothing to do on weekdays, so he rushed to the medicinal cuisine house with a dozen people. Although he couldn't help much, he helped Pang Gang and the others a lot in small matters. Soo-yun joked, "Chang, you might as well quit your job and work with Brother Pang." Chang nodded. "I agree. Nothing good comes out of being a gangster. Wang Xuanqi from the 4th Wolf Gang is the best example." "Okay, as long as you can endure hardships, it's not difficult to do this." Pang Gang laughed dryly, but when he turned his head, there was a touch of bitterness in the corner of his mouth. It was not easy for them to survive now. Why was Wang Xuanqi of the 4th Wolf Gang so unlucky, but Fan Nanjia of the Knife and Axe Society still so carefree? The news of the 4th Wolf Gang's destruction spread throughout Hudong City in just one night. The entire Hudong City police force was shaken by this incident. From the city government to the various bureaus, to the offices of the basic departments in the towns, almost everyone was talking about Qin Waner's heroic deeds. In the words of Chun Wei, the director of the Municipal Public Security Bureau, it was the most incredible feat in Hudong City's police force. Qin Waner's position in the police force instantly rose to an unparalleled height. If people still said that she was lucky when she killed Goshawk Gongyu, then no one could say that she was lucky when she uprooted the fourth wolf gang. It could only be called a miracle. Little Chin, I don't know how to reward you for what you've done for the Hudong City Public Security Bureau. If you have any conditions, just tell me. As long as the Bureau has the ability to do it, I will definitely promise you. Chen Wei had never said such a thing in the 5 years since he was promoted to the position of director. The directors of several institutes were shocked. They all knew Director Chen's style of doing things. Now Qin Wan'er said that she wanted to join the Bureau, and he dared to agree. Qin Wan'er made a request. Director Chen, I do have a favor to ask of you. Chen Wei waved his hand. Go ahead. The directors of several divisions in Hudong City all pricked up their ears. The change of office was coming soon. If Qin Wan'er joined the Bureau, it would definitely affect their personnel changes. I have a friend whose child wants to go to the bilingual international school, but there are some problems with the household registration. Her child can't go to school. I don't have any other requests. Can you help me with this? Qin Wan'er was very serious. I don't want any reward. I just want the Bureau to help me solve this problem. Chen Wei frowned. What an innocent girl. She didn't even ask for a promotion. Lu Guangming, the director of the Bureau, was willing to use such a big contribution as a bargaining chip to be promoted to the top position in the Bureau. Qin Wan'er was still waiting for Chen Wei's answer. Can you? Principal Dong of the Bilingual International School is an old friend of mine. I'll call him now. In Chen Wei's eyes, there was admiration and relief. What they wanted was a selfless and generous comrade like Qin Wan'er. Qin Wan'er was so excited that she almost jumped up. She wasn't even this excited during the commendation ceremony. Chen Wei solved the problem of Guogua going to school with one phone call. He told Qin Wan'er that her friend could bring Guogua to school today. Qin Wan'er couldn't wait any longer. She immediately called Ruan Qingshuang. At the same time, the police weren't the only ones who were shocked by the destruction of the Fourth Wolf Gang. The underworld forces in Hudong City were also terrified. A policewoman had single-handedly wiped out the Fourth Wolf Gang. It was simply shocking. Fan Nanjia, the leader of the Knife and Axe Gang, almost vomited blood when he heard the news. He didn't even have to do anything. The thorn in his side was taken care of by the police. Was there anything better than this in life? However, after the excitement, Fan Nanjia considered a deeper problem. Since the Fourth Wolf Gang was wiped out, would the Knife and Axe Gang's good days come to an end? Would they end up as miserable as the Fourth Wolf Gang? Thinking of this, Fan Nanjia couldn't help but frown. It seemed that he had a lot of things to do recently. Not only did he have to quietly take over the territory controlled by the Fourth Wolf Gang, but he also had to carefully avoid the eyes of the police. Wei Ming. The muscles on Fan Nanjia's face trembled and his eyelids twitched. He waved to a man in a checkered shirt beside him. The man with a round waist and broad shoulders leaned forward and whispered, "Cousin, what's your order?" "Tell our brothers to behave for the time being. I will take care of the bathing center. You have to be more careful in other things. Don't ask for protection fees. We have to find out what the police want to do first. We have to be especially careful of Qin Wan'er from the Wenhui District Police Station. Avoid her as much as you can." Fan Nanjia sneered. His eyes were almost invisible. His high cheekbones were bulging, and his eyes were sharp. His face was repulsive. The strong man called Wei Ming was slightly startled. "Brother, what about our daily expenses? You haven't done what I told you last time?" Fan Nanjia frowned and said impatiently, "You still haven't settled the matter of taking over all the small contractors in the city? Ask whoever decorates for the management fee." "Brother, I've been doing this for a long time. Those obedient ones have already paid us 40% of the management fee. The money has been used to renovate the bathhouse and send gifts. Now only a few stubborn ones refuse to pay the management fee." The man's name was Wei Weiming, Fan Nanjia's cousin. He wasn't very capable, so he relied on his cousin's reputation to get by. "Who has the guts to go against me?" Fan Nanjia said coldly. Wei Weiming lowered his eyes and said, "One is Lu Zhonghua, who used to rely on the fourth brother of the Fourth Wolf Gang. The other is Ma Fenghua, the cousin of that bitch's younger brother, and the other is Pang Gang from the slums at the edge of the city. He's really a stone in a latrine pit, smelly and hard. Fan Nanjia glared at him, his veins bulging. How dare someone from the slums challenge me? Fan Nanjia. Then you should call your brothers and teach them how to behave. As for Lu Zhonghua, Wei Laosi is not even fit to lick my toe. He's nothing. Now, in the entire Wenhui district, the only person Fan Nanjia had to worry about was Su Yanqing from the Fourth Wolf Gang. Yes. Cousin, I'll go now. Wei Weiming said with his head held high as if he had received an imperial edict. When Ruan Qingshuang learned that Guogua could register today, she hugged Guogua. She was so emotional that her eyes were a little red. Chou Yun was a little moved. She didn't doubt this woman's love for Guogua at all. Mom, should we also tell Dad and let him register with us? Guogua smiled and said, he will be very happy. Ruan Qingshuang nodded and smiled brightly as she dialed Su Yun's phone. Wanner wants us to register at the bilingual international school now. Where should we meet? You tell me the location. I'll go and find you immediately. Su Yun smiled. Qin Wanner was quite capable. She immediately got it done after she said it. However, this matter was really urgent. The day after tomorrow was the start of school. If they didn't register now, it would be too late. After getting the address, Su Yun hung up the phone and turned to Chang. Lend me the car. I have something to do outside. Okay. Chang quickly took off the car key from his waist. Brother, this car's clutch is a little loose and the accelerator is a little hard. Other than that, there are no major problems. F*CK. That's not a major problem. Do you have to have a problem with the brakes to be a problem? Su Yun drove the celestial dragon Little Fukong that Chang bought from an unknown second-hand car market and went straight to the international shopping mall where Ruan Qingshuang and the other two were. Although the car was really old and difficult to drive, it wasn't a big problem for Su Yun, who had driven all kinds of broken things. Soon, Su Yun arrived before the three of them, covered in dust. Ruan Qingshuang was stunned and puzzled. Why did you drive Xiao Chang's car here? I'm just borrowing it. Su Yun grinned. My goddaughter is going to register at the school. No matter what, she has to be presentable. If she doesn't even have a car, it will be degrading. Guogua's smile was uglier than her crying face. She helplessly pulled Chou Yun's hand. Sister Chou Yun, why don't we take the bus? Chou Yun was a cold person, but even she was speechless. Driving this broken car to the school to make a scene? She really couldn't afford to lose face. Let's go. Ruan Qingshuang didn't think there was anything wrong with it. She just felt a little embarrassed that she was wasting gas for Xiaochang. Seeing that her mother didn't dislike her father, what else could Guogua say? There was a saying, if you marry a chicken, follow the chicken. If you marry a dog, follow the dog. Guogua helplessly patted her head and sighed. Ai, what sin have I committed? Chou Yun helplessly rolled her eyes and sat in the car. She thought to herself, you really have committed a lot of sins. The second-hand celestial dragon Little Fukong sped along the way. The glass of the car door kept rattling. Ruan Qingshuang, who was in the passenger seat, couldn't help but ask, Su Yun, how much does this car cost? Why don't we buy one too? It'll be convenient to send Guogua to school. Guogua panicked when she heard that. Mom, I don't think we should. I'm carsick. I don't see you getting carsick on the bus. Su Yun drives slowly. Ruan Qingshuang turned her head and frowned. She said with concern, are you okay now? If you don't feel well, tell me in advance. Chapter 38. Su Yun slowed down and looked at Guogua through the rearview mirror. Her face was rosy and weird, and she didn't look like she was carsick at all. If I change to a Ferrari, I guarantee that Guogua won't feel dizzy. Guogua pouted and made up a story to change the topic. Dad, I heard from Sister One Air that my form teacher is a beauty. Really? Su Yun's eyes lit up. A beauty is good. A fair lady is good for a gentleman. Then wouldn't it be a little degrading for me to wear this? What do you think? Guogua was speechless. Driving a second-hand Shenlong Little Ford Kong was already degrading enough. Adding on the slippers, singlet, and underpants. Damn, her dad was deliberately making her lose face, right? Su Yun had never lacked confidence. I think it's quite good. It's all freshly washed and there's a car. No matter what, we can be considered a middle-class person, right? You should rest. Nowadays, people who drive Audi are embarrassed to say that they are bosses. Only Mercedes-Benz S-Class and above dare to say that they are middle-class. Guogua shrugged her shoulders and spread out her pink hands. Dad, what kind of middle class are you? Where does your confidence come from? Su Yin was speechless. He thought in his heart, I don't have anything, but I have a group of beauties around me. Even a rich boss wouldn't have so many beauties around him, right? Just based on this point, I'm prouder than them. Ruan Qingshuang didn't say anything. Originally, they were going to the school to report. Why did these two people make it sound like they were going to a blind date for Su Yin? We're here. Chou Yan only said the main point. Su Yin turned on the turn signal and calmly turned the car to the school gate. A few luxury cars drove into the gate of the bilingual international school, one after another. It was obvious that the school's tuition was not low. Hey, what are you doing? After a few luxury cars drove into the school, the security guard put down the bar and stopped Su Yun's celestial dragon little Foxconn. This is a school. What are you doing? Su Yun smiled. I brought my child to sign up. The security guard glanced at Su Yun's car and then looked at his clothes. Brother, did you go to the wrong school? This is an elite school. Are you sure you want to enroll here? Su Yun squinted his eyes. He really wanted to beat up this guy who was looking at people through the crack of the door. The BMW in front of him didn't stop him, but his Citroën couldn't enter. Guogua sighed. She thought to herself, I can't blame the security guards for this. The security guard wanted to say something, but a beautiful ponytail girl appeared at the school gate. She walked confidently towards Su Yun's godly dragon Ford Kong. Excuse me, are you Qin Wan'er's friends? Holy sh*t. Su Yun was so excited that he almost stepped on the accelerator. Fortunately, this broken car's accelerator was a bit hard, so the car didn't rush out. She was an elegant beauty with a beautiful face. Her eyebrows were like willow leaves, and her skin was like ice and jade. The beauty wore a black three-quarter pants and a khaki shirt with an open collar tied at her waist. The slightly open collar tightly wrapped around her proud twin peaks that seemed to be about to burst out. Su Yun couldn't take his eyes off her. He really wanted to ask about the age range of the school's enrollment. He must ask Qin Wan'er later. With his age, could he also come to school here? Then he would definitely have great luck with women. Unknowingly, Ruan Qingshuang and Chou Yan had already brought Guogua out of the car. Hello, my name is Ruan Qingshuang. I am Wan'er's friend. Ruan Qingshuang smiled and said, This is my daughter, and this is her sister Chou Yan. Hello, beautiful teacher. Guogua's mouth was very sweet. She didn't even need to think before she blurted out some flattery. My name is Guogua. Teacher, you are so beautiful. I used to think that my mother and sister were the most beautiful in the world. I didn't expect that, teacher. You are even more beautiful. The beautiful ponytail teacher couldn't help but laugh at Guogua's words. This little girl was so cute. She was really the most beautiful and likable little girl she had ever seen. Hello, Guogua. You are so cute. Teacher likes you very much. After that, the beautiful ponytail teacher also smiled at Ruan Qingshuang and Chou Yan and introduced herself. My name is Su Xiaoran. I will be Guogua's class teacher in the future. Let's go in and register first. Miss Su, is this your friend? The school security guard finally put away his serious expression. They are Principal Dong's acquaintances. Su Xiaoran whispered. The school security guard instantly put a smile on his face and quickly put away the bar. Aya, why didn't you say so earlier? It's Principal Dong's relationship. Quick, please come in. However, the car didn't have any intention of moving. The security guard's body stiffened. Could it be that this person was angry? If he offended Principal Dong, his job would be at risk. Sigh. Guogua sighed and walked over to pat on the car door. She whispered, Dad, stop looking. You are embarrassing your daughter. She will be my teacher in the future. Are you afraid that you won't be able to see her? Su Yun came back to his senses and said with a dad didn't dote on you for nothing expression, Get in the car. Forget about the car. Guogua laughed dryly. I am going to register. After Guogua finished speaking, she ran back. Su Xiaoran smiled politely at Su Yin in the car, then turned around and led the few people to the office building to register. Su Yin saw this and quickly turned the car around to park outside the school gate. He got out of the car and chased after her. The registration process was very smooth. After everything was done, Ruan Qingxuang took out the mobile phone in her pocket. Miss Su, Guogua is a naughty child. Please take care of her in the future. Can I have your number? Of course. Su Xiaoran quickly exchanged phone numbers with Ruan Qingxuang. I think Guogua is very obedient and smart. You can rest assured. Su Yin laughed dryly. You don't know her well. Dad. What did you say? Guogua rolled her eyes at Su Yin. I said you are the best. Su Yin laughed and cried. Su Xiaoran was actually quite shocked. They were such young parents, but their daughter was already so old. Then when they got married, she was still underage. Thinking that she was so old and had not even had a boyfriend, Su Xiaoran really felt quite embarrassed. Later, she really wanted to ask Qinwan about the situation of her family. Su Xiaoran was angry when she thought that Qinwan did not look for her for Guogua's enrollment, but looked for Principal Dong. She had already told Qinwan that she was going to be a teacher here. That guy actually forgot. Miss Su, it is almost noon. Why don't you go back to the medicinal cuisine house with us for lunch? Ruan Qingxuang invited sincerely. Guogua also supported. Miss Su, you can go with us. My dad's medicinal cuisine is very delicious. Well, let me show Miss Su my cooking skills. Su Yin volunteered without hesitation. Let's make our specialty ginseng and dendrobium lean meat soup. Su Xiaoran smiled slightly and declined politely. The school will start tomorrow. There are still a lot of things to deal with. If there is a chance in the future, I must try Guogua's dad's cooking. In that case, we will not disturb you. Ruan Qingxuang heard that there were a lot of things to deal with, so she did not insist. Then we will go first. Thank you for today, Miss Su. It is what I should do. Su Xiaoran smiled slightly. This was ordered by Principal Dong himself. Moreover, Wan and I are good friends. I will not send you off. Goodbye. While talking, they had already walked out of the office building. Miss Su, goodbye. Guogua gave a flying kiss. She was very clear that she would be mingling with others for the next few years. Of course, she had to build a good relationship with them. Guogua, goodbye. Su Xiaoran smiled slightly. This child was really likable. The few of them said goodbye to Su Xiaoran and left the school. Su Yin drove back to the medicinal cuisine restaurant. Guogua's enrollment was such a big event, so naturally, it was necessary to celebrate. When he went back, he would cook a few of his specialty dishes. With a creak, the Shenlong Fukong stopped at the entrance of the medicinal cuisine restaurant. However, the restaurant was empty. It was understandable that Chang and Xiaofei went out to play, but Peng Gang promised them that he would work overtime to renovate the restaurant. Why was there no sign of him? Too unprofessional. Guogua got out of the car with her hands behind her back and shook her head unhappily. Ruan Qingxuang was also puzzled. Peng Gang did not look like a dishonest person. How could he do such a thing? Su Yin walked into the medicinal cuisine restaurant. The renovation level air pump, nail gun were all left in the restaurant. There were also a lot of plasterboards, wood blocks and large core boards. If Peng Gang did not want to do it halfway, he would never leave these things behind. These were all people who needed to make a living. Something happened. Cho Yun said faintly. She was sharp enough to catch the slightest details. Su Yin kicked the wood shavings with his feet. The dark red color on the wood shavings was obviously bloodstains. Su Yun's eyebrows unconsciously twisted together. His sharp eyes swept across the entire renovation site of the medicinal cuisine restaurant. This kind of inconspicuous blood stains could be seen everywhere. What the hell happened? Could it be that the Fourth Wolf Gang dared to take revenge? Su Yin clenched his fists tightly. Blue veins popped out. This group of bastards. Ruan Qingxuang felt a chill in her heart. They really could not afford to offend those people. How could Qinwan catch them all by herself? Su Yin looked up at the ceilings that had begun to take shape. He could not help but feel puzzled. If they were the people of the Fourth Wolf Gang, They should have smashed the restaurant and destroyed the things in the restaurant. But now the things in the restaurant were not damaged at all. Even half of the plaster boards were not destroyed. Instead, there was no one in the restaurant. There must be something fishy about this matter. Cho Yun and Su Yun were also puzzled. They did not say anything to Ruan Qingshuang. After all, they were afraid that she could not bear the pressure. Su Yun, you stay and take care of them. Cho Yun said faintly. I will go out and have a look. Well, be careful. Su Yun did not stop her. He felt that Cho Yun, who had been in the underground world for a long time, must be more experienced than him in this kind of investigation. Moreover, he had to prepare lunch now. I will go and cook first. I will wait for you to eat together. Cho Yun nodded and turned away without saying anything. Su Yun, I have no appetite. How could Ruan Qingshuang continue eating? Before the first wave subsided, another wave came. She really wanted to ask God. Why couldn't he let her live a peaceful life? Guogua was very sensible. Mom, if you don't eat, Guogua will not eat either. Ruan Qingshuang did not think for herself, but for Guogua. Mom, eat. Guogua also eat well. Chapter 39. At noon, a bearded young man walked out of Hudong Airport. He was less than 30 years old, and his hair was dark red. He had a wide nose and a wide mouth. His face was definitely not handsome, but his cold eyes were extremely sharp. They swept around like lightning. The bearded man was dressed in expensive branded clothes. He walked through the crowd of people who were waiting to pick him up in a low-key manner. He paced around the airport at a leisurely pace. When he walked to the international flight area, he raised his thick eyebrows and glanced at an inconspicuous trash can with a cold gaze. If Green Ghost said that Mountain Cat and Chin who had flown to Western Europe and South America, he would believe it. But he would never believe that Gong Yu would go to Africa. Why would he go to Africa? Was he so hardcore that he wanted to have sex with a primitive black girl? The bearded man raised his hand and combed his hair with his fingers. A faint smile appeared on his face. This ancient city of Hudong City was indeed interesting. Although Hudong City was not big, it was still a few counties and had a population of 3 to 4 million. Green Ghost had asked him to find a woman and a child here. It was too difficult for him. He hated doing things like this the most. He did not support Green Ghost's decision to search for the woman and child even if it meant turning Huaxia upside down. It was like looking for a needle in a haystack. But he also knew that he could not change Green Ghost's decision. Since he could not persuade Green Ghost, he would just treat it as a vacation. As for the search, of course, he would not do it himself. It was better to find someone else. Soon, the bearded man walked out of the airport. He hailed a taxi and got in. Hello, you don't look like a local, right? Where are you going? The taxi driver was very friendly. I'm looking for Ma Pinghai, but I don't know where he is, the bearded man said calmly. After that, he took out a few bills from his wallet and threw them on the console. Bring me to the person and this money is all yours. The driver's face turned pale. He could not help sweating. He wanted to refuse, but he could not bear to lose the money. Sit tight. Who in Hudong City did not know Ma Pinghai? On the surface, he was the secretary of a street in Beijia district, but in reality, he was one of the 3 mafia bosses in Hudong City. Ma Pinghai was a big thumb in the 3 northern districts of Beipan, Huiquan, and Beiyu. Many people secretly said that Secretary Ma's words in Hudong were more important than the secretary of the municipal party committee. Cho Yun came back about 10 minutes later. The blood stains disappeared at the door. There are several tire tracks on the side of the road. Su Yun nodded. Things didn't seem to be that simple. Let's eat first. I'll ask Chong after dinner. Guogua didn't think so much. She started eating when she was hungry. Only when she was full would she have the strength to think of ideas. Ruan Qingshuang's appetite was obviously much worse. She hurriedly ate a few mouthfuls and then put down her chopsticks. While Cho Yun was cleaning up the dishes for the first time, Chong and Xiao Fei arrived at the medicinal cuisine restaurant with bruises all over their faces. Brother Yin, people from the Knife and Axe gang are here looking for trouble. Xiao Fei cried with a depressed face. We were all beaten up, and the workers of the renovation team were all hospitalized. Su Yin frowned. What the hell was the knife and axe gang? He had just dealt with the Four Wolves gang, and now the knife and axe gang appeared. Were there so many gangs in Hudong City? He looked at Chang and asked, "What happened?" Xiangzi gulped down half a bottle of mineral water in his hand. After cursing, he began to explain in detail. Less than half an hour after Su Yun left the medicinal cuisine restaurant, people from the Knife and Axe Gang, one of the three major gangs in Wenhui district, came looking for trouble. The leader was Wei Weiming, the cousin of Fan Nanjia, the boss of the Knife and Axe Gang. His purpose was very clear. He wanted 20,000 yuan from Pang Gang. If he didn't give it to him, he would beat the workers. Pang Gang had just started work. How could he give them 20,000 yuan? Of course he wouldn't give it to them. Wei Weiming ordered his men to beat the workers without hesitation. More than 30 hooligans beat up 7 or 8 of Pang Gang's workers. Chang and Xiao Fei wanted to help with a few of their brothers, but they were beaten up too. However, their injuries were not as serious as the workers. The workers either had their fingers broken by iron rods, or their legs broken by steel pipes. They had to lie in bed for 2 months because of their injuries. Wei Weiming left after beating them up. He said, "If you want to do renovation work in the future, you have to pay me the management fee. Otherwise, don't even think about doing it." This was a vicious move. If you beat up your workers, no one would be able to work for you even if you could get a job. After 3 or 4 times, no one would dare to work for you anymore. Chang and Xiao Fei had just helped Pang Gang send the injured workers to the hospital. When they remembered that the medicinal cuisine restaurant was unattended, they hurried back. The Hatchet Gang? Ruan Qingshuang was also confused. What was wrong with the public security now? Why were there gangsters everywhere? Fan Nanjia's Hatchet Gang is no weaker than Wang Xuanqi's Fourth Wolf Gang. Wang Xuanqi is also a dog expert, but Fan Nanjia is a complete gangster. Chang spat. There were still traces of blood in his mouth. Fan Nanjia is involved in the transportation of construction waste. He also partners with others to mix concrete. All his jobs are construction jobs. He has made a lot of money in the past few years. He also opened a new bath center called Tropical Rainforest. Su Yun smiled. Building construction and chicken coop. That's pretty good. Chang nodded angrily. He said reluctantly, Fan Nanjia is doing well in the underworld. People in the underworld say that he will be the 4th boss of the underworld in Hudong City. Su Yun was not interested in Fan Nanjia's background. He turned around and asked Xiao Fei, "How's your uncle?" "He's fine. He just asked me to pass a message to Brother Yin. He said that he's sorry to you. His workers are all injured. He can't renovate the medicinal cuisine restaurant anymore." Xiao Fei was a sophomore who had just dropped out of high school. He couldn't take much pressure. His face was full of frustration and disappointment. Su Yun threw the car key of the Shenlong Fukang to Qiangzi. "Let's go, take me to the hospital. You said that you would renovate it as soon as possible. It's not nice of you not to do it now." Xiao Fei panicked when he heard this. He hurriedly explained, "Brother Yin, don't blame my uncle. He didn't want to do this. He can't bear the medical expenses of the workers. Please forgive him. Don't go, okay?" Su Yun shook his head. "No. But..." Xiao Fei was a little anxious, but he didn't dare to vent because of Su Yun's deterrence. Qiangzi tugged at Xiao Fei, telling him to keep his mouth shut. However, he didn't understand. Big Brother Yun wasn't an unreasonable person. Why was he so serious about this? "Sister Shuang, lend me 20,000 yuan. I'll return it to you later." Su Yun smiled. Ruan Qingshuang understood Su Yun's meaning. She nodded and went upstairs to get the money. Guoguo was a little distressed, but she didn't say anything. She knew that Su Yun's father could afford it. At this time, Chang and Xiao Fei suddenly understood Su Yun's meaning. Xiao Fei's eyes turned red and he was about to cry. Ruan Qingshuang gave Su Yun 30,000 yuan in cash, and went downstairs. "It's okay to bring more. With so many injured workers, they will need money. If it's not enough, call me again." "Okay." Su Yun didn't hesitate. He took the money and urged Chang and Xiao Fei to take him to the hospital. The 3 of them drove the Shenlong Citroën straight to Hudong City People's Hospital. Guogua shrugged and said to herself, "AI, Dad is really a good person. Why is he so kind? Guogua fell in love with you. Phew, no wonder mother wanted to devote her life to you. Ruan Qingshuang almost collapsed. What was the concept of love in the mouth of a 7-year-old child? Anyway, what Ruan Qingshuang heard from Guogua's tone wasn't the kind of love that a child would have for her father. Instead, it was a trace of. Ruan Qingshuang didn't dare to think further. Chou Yun's expression was as calm as a lake. She looked at Ruan Qingshuang faintly. This woman was pure and elegant. Perhaps only the kind Ruan Qingshuang and the good person Su Yin would be a good match. Thinking of this, Chou Yun couldn't help but be shocked. When did she start to care about these boring questions? Chou Yun didn't realize that ever since Su Yun helped her expel the internal energy of the 7 deadly palms from her body, her originally cold and aloof heart was broken by a trace of love between a man and a woman. Rousseau said that kind actions can make a person's soul noble. Today, Su Yin and Ruan Qingshuang were 2 typical kind people. Not only did their souls become noble, even Guogua and Chou Yun were assimilated into good people. Godly dragon Little Fukong was also very skillful in the hands of Chong. Anyway, this car was a fake license plate. Chong didn't care about crossing the line and running lights. If he followed the traffic rules, he wouldn't be called a hoodlum. Su Yin was too lazy to care about most of Chong's non-dangerous violations. However, he still slapped the back of Chong's head after he ran a straight red light. If you want to die, then jump off the building. Don't cause trouble for others on the main road. In the future, don't run red lights. Yes, Brother Yin is right. Chong smiled embarrassedly. The 3 of them quickly arrived at the People's Hospital. After getting off the car, they went straight to the orthopedics ward. According to Chong, those guys were ruthless. The 7 workers all had bone fractures. It was quite serious. A nurse walked towards them. Su Yin dodged sideways but was caught by the nurse. Hey, why is it you? Ah. Su Yin looked back. The young nurse's hot body stretched her white gown. It must be the nurse who applied medicine on his shoulder that night. It's you. What happened to you? The young nurse Su Wenyao was fascinated by Su Yin after that night. It was the first time she saw a fierce man who didn't need anesthesia for gunshot wounds. Su Yin didn't have time to chat. A few friends are injured. I'm going to the orthopedics ward. Let's talk later. After that, Su Yin continued to urge Chong and Xiaofei to lead the way. Looking at Su Yin striding away, Su Wenyao pouted and angrily stomped her feet. He didn't even have time to talk. Really? Chapter 40. With Chong and Xiaofei leading the way, Su Yin met Pang Gang. There were 7 beds in the orthopedics ward. The workers in the room were all in plaster. They did not feel pain because of their injuries, but they had to consider the huge impact their injuries would have on their families. Without labor, there would be no income, and no income meant no money to live. Uncle Brother Yin is here. Xiaofei pushed the door open and entered. Su Yin and Changzi followed closely behind, and directly stepped into the ward. Pang Gang's body trembled. He slowly stood up and turned around. His eyes were red and swollen, his cheeks were bruised, and his thick lips trembled. Brother Su Yin, I am so sorry. I really don't have the ability to continue working at the medicinal cuisine house. Chang pulled over a chair, and placed it behind Su Yin. Su Yin did not stand on ceremony and sat down. Brother Pang, I have already heard the reason from Chang. You're giving up just because of this? Then I have misjudged you. Hearing Su Yun's words, the injured workers in the ward were a little angry. They were already injured like this, and he still came to Brother Pang to work for him. Although it couldn't be said that he was going too far, wasn't it too inhumane? Haha. Pang Gang laughed dryly. It's not that I want to give up, but as you can see, my brothers are all lying here. Su Yin pushed Chang and dragged Xiaofei to Pang Gang. Aren't there still people here? Are you willing to let your nephew be a gangster? I don't want them to waste their lives like this. Chang and Xiaofei were stunned. It took Pang Gang a while to understand Su Yun's meaning. Brother Yin, Chang swallowed. We can do odd jobs, but as for renovation, isn't that a bit too much? Su Yin smiled and glanced at Chang. Is it a waste of your talent to let you learn from Brother Pang? Of course not. Chang did not dare to argue. Tomorrow, I will ask my brothers to follow Brother Pang. Su Yun took out the 30,000 renminbi that Ruan Qingshuang gave him and placed it on the bed beside Pang Gang. Consider this money as an advance payment for the renovation. Brother Pang, if you think the people I found for you can do it, then lead them to work tomorrow. With your guidance, I don't believe that they can't do it well. Pang Gang was completely stunned. The injured workers didn't say a word. The entire ward instantly fell silent. Because before Su Yun's arrival, the nurses had already come to urge Pang Gang to pay the hospitalization fees for the next day. Just the cost of the X-ray, plaster, and other miscellaneous expenses alone was already more than 10,000 yuan. Pang Gang was now empty-handed. 7 patients in one ward were no longer welcomed by the hospital. Now that he had no money, of course he would not be treated well. The hospitalization fees were not enough, let alone the other expenses. The 7 people's expenses added up to at least 20,000 to 30,000 renminbi. The workers who did the renovation work with him were all brothers at the bottom of society. He was a small foreman, and his life was already so difficult. Of course his workers had no money. Su Yun's sudden appearance with money was simply a timely help. This money was definitely life-saving for Pang Gang. Although Su Yun and Pang Gang had only known each other for a day, he was very clear about Pang Gang's temper. If Pang Gang was not a practical person, he would have made a fortune in the renovation work. It was precisely because he was too honest that he ended up in such a pitiful state. If you gave him money directly, he would definitely not accept it. Therefore, Su Yun thought of an excuse to pay him in advance. This way, not only could he accept the money, but he could also let him start work immediately. It was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Pang Gang thought for a long time before he took the 30,000 renminbi. He raised his head and said to Chang and Xiao Fei, "You heard what Wei Weiming said in the afternoon. If I bring the workers to work again, they will still beat me up. Aren't you afraid?" "No." Xiao Fei of course supported his uncle. Qiangzi spat and said with an expression of nobility, "How can I be afraid of trouble when I'm out to make a living? Brother Pang, let's not talk about Wei Weiming. Even if Fan Nanjie said it himself, I will accept this job. Why should we be afraid of him? He is nothing." Ever since Changzi witnessed Su Yun annihilating the 4th Wolf Gang with his own eyes, his backbone had increased by dozens of times. "Brother Pang, you guys just focus on the renovation. I will take care of the rest." Su Yun's smile was still calm, as if nothing had happened. "Okay." Pang Gang gritted his teeth. Since the other party was not afraid, why should he be afraid? At most, he would lose an arm or a leg. At least he would not let down Su Yun's 30,000 renminbi. "I will pay the hospital's follow-up fees. Let's go back and start work." As soon as he finished speaking, Pang Gang walked out of the ward to pay the money. The injured workers on the hospital bed looked at Su Yun with gratitude. If it was not for his timely help, they might have already started preparing to leave the hospital and go home to recuperate. "Boss Su, thank you so much." An older worker expressed his gratitude on behalf of the others. "Me?" Su Yun smiled. "Don't thank me. The money for your treatment was not paid by me. It was paid by your foreman. I just gave him the renovation fees in advance." The few of them understood and were still grateful. After Pang Gang paid the money, he quickly rushed back and followed Su Yun back to the medicinal cuisine house. The renovation of the medicinal cuisine house returned to normal. However, the workers became a group of amateurs. Chang's underlings had never done this before. They were all very careful, afraid of messing up. After more than half an hour of rushing, the bearded man was brought to the foot of Nine Rock Mountain in the northern suburbs of Hudong City by the taxi driver. The taxi driver pointed to a white European-style villa halfway up the mountain and said, "This is Secretary Ma's house. However, I am not sure if he is here." "Secretary Ma?" The bearded man combed his dark red hair with his fingers again and chuckled. Ma Pinghai's title was quite impressive. "Secretary. Haha." The taxi driver trembled in fear as he watched the bearded man get out of the car. Then he quickly turned around and prepared to leave Nine Rock Mountain. A few years ago, Nine Rock Mountain was a good place for sightseeing. But now, The entire mountain was rented by Ma Pinghai and turned into a tourist resort. Entering the mountain gate cost 50 yuan. Thinking of this, the taxi driver could not help but wonder who this foreigner was. He could not help but look through the rearview mirror. Where was he? The bearded man who had just gotten out of the car disappeared in an instant. The taxi driver rubbed his eyes hard and turned his head to look around. There was not even a shadow, let alone a person. Was he dreaming? But the tickets on the dashboard were real. The European-style villa was very imposing. Just the 3-meter-high stone wall surrounding the villa, and the 4-meter-high iron gate in the center, were already very imposing. In the open space between the villa and the iron gate, there was a pool cut out of marble. The valuable stones in the pool were set off by the fountain, which made it even more charming. The bearded man walked to the gate. Inside the gate, there were 2 bored young men in black t-shirts smoking. When they saw someone, they immediately looked over and said impatiently, "What are you doing here?" "Looking for someone." The bearded man smiled. The 2 young men in black t-shirts showed disdain. "The person you are looking for is not here. Get out of here, and don't be an eyesore. Do you know whose place this is?" The bearded man's smile disappeared instantly. He said indifferently, "Isn't this Ma Pinghai's house? How dare you say Secretary Ma's name?" The 2 young men in black t-shirts were furious. They pushed open the iron gate and walked out. Bang! In an instant, the 2 young men bumped into each other and fell to the ground with swollen faces. They didn't even see how the bearded man attacked. Such a useless guard. "Ma Pinghai, you are really not afraid of death." The bearded man sneered and then strode to the villa. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, the afternoon had passed. Chang could already use the nail gun and electric saw skillfully. Xiao Fei also learned how to calculate the materials. Peng Gang didn't expect these guys to be so talented. The construction progress was much faster than he expected. Originally, Ruan Qingshuang wanted Peng Gang and Chang to stay for dinner. But Peng Gang said that he was worried about the hospital workers and left. Chang and Xiao Fei also followed him. They ate at Brother Yun's place every day. How could they feel embarrassed? When Qin Wan returned to the medicinal cuisine restaurant listlessly, it was already dark. A large table of people was waiting for her to eat. "Sister Wan, why did you come back so late?" Guoguo was so hungry that her stomach was shriveled. She raised her pink little hand and protested. "Phew, we were all waiting for you to celebrate my success in the school." Ruan Qingshuang also looked at Qin Wan with the same puzzled expression. What happened? Because Qin Wan had continuously made amazing contributions. She was already a level 1 superintendent. She was directly promoted from the deputy director of the Wenhui district to an instructor. She was now the second in command. Her next step was to become a leader in the municipal bureau. How could anyone ask her to work overtime? Qin Wan sighed. The bureau is having a meeting. The provincial bureau issued a confidential document, saying that they suspect that there is an S-level wanted criminal in our city. But they don't even know who he is. They don't even have a picture of him. They said that everything is just a suspicion and asked us to be on the alert. No one noticed that when Qin Wan finished speaking, Cho Yun's face had become gloomy. She knew very well what an S-level wanted criminal was. He was definitely a master. She had clearly sent the 3 positioning chips to Western Europe, South America, and Africa. Why would Green Ghost still send people here? F*CK, then you must be on the alert. What does an S-level wanted criminal mean? Su Yin grinned. He had already seen Cho Yun's pale face from the corner of his eyes. Qin Wan looked dignified. She didn't seem to be joking at all. She looked at Cho Yun and then looked at Su Yin. "Do you still remember Goshawk Gongyu?" Of course. Su Yin also felt bitter in his heart. Of course, he knew what an S-level wanted criminal meant. F*CK, he was definitely a fierce guy. Qin Wan said word by word. An S-level wanted criminal is at least harder to deal with than 3 Goshawk Gongyu. Chapter 41. Qin Wan's words put a lot of pressure on Cho Yun. After hearing the news, Cho Yun kept silent. Who else could it be other than Qin Wan, an S-level wanted criminal under Green Ghost? That poison scorpion came a little too early. What are you thinking about? Suyun held a cup of cold water and slowly walked down from upstairs. What will come will come. It's useless to think too much. Cho-yun, who stayed downstairs, stared into the distance. Lynx could find them because of Wang Xuanqi from the 4th Wolf Gang. If Scorpion really came, would he use the same method to find them? Although there were not many gangs in Hudong City, there were still quite a few. Cho-yun's eyes slowly turned cold. Unless she took in all the gangsters around for her own use, it was the only way to prevent Red Scorpion from using Lynx's method to find her and Guogua. Cho-yun knew very well that Red Scorpion and Lynx were not at the same level. She could find out in time if Lynx, a second-rate small fry, sneaked in, but if Red Scorpion came in the middle of the night, she would not be able to find out in time. Thinking about it, Cho-yun couldn't help but clench her fists. If she didn't want Guogua to be in danger, she had to make plans early. I'm going out for a while. Cho-yun slowly got up. Suyun grinned. If you want to take care of some gangsters, you might as well ask Chong for help. Although he's not good at fighting, he's still very well informed. I can do it myself. Cho-yun didn't accept Suyun's suggestion. She had her own way of doing things. It was inconvenient to take Chong with her. Cho-yun got up and left. Suyun also gently massaged his temples and thought, damn, what kind of person can make Violent Fox Venerable so restless? A first-rate expert, the underground world is really too rich. No wonder Feng Qiansui was shuffled out. The opponent is really too strong to be described. Suyun knew that it was useless for him to ask, unless Cho-yun said it herself. However, Cho-yun's personality was like that. She did not say anything. Sigh, what a headache. There was no one here who could stop worrying. Dad, where did Sister Cho-yun go? Guogua came downstairs with 50 yuan in her hand, looking confused. Recently, I've always felt that there's something wrong with Sister Cho-yun. Dad, did you secretly touch Sister Cho-yun when you took off her clothes to treat her injuries? Damn, Suyun just drank a mouthful of water and spat it out. Touch her hair. Who dared to touch Fox Venerable's tail? He hadn't lived long enough and didn't want to die so early. Guogua reached out her hand to give the 50 yuan to Suyun, but she thought about it and took it back. Dad, there's no shampoo at home. Mom asked you to find a way to get it. I'll go now. Suyun didn't plan to take out money from Guogua, that little money grubber. He got up and went to the supermarket not far away to buy shampoo and came back. Guogua had already gone upstairs. Suyun took the shampoo and went upstairs directly. Suyun didn't think much after he went upstairs. He opened the bathroom door and wanted to put the shampoo in. He didn't expect that there would be someone in the bathroom. Qin Wan who was only wearing underwear, was swaying left and right in front of the big mirror in the bathroom. It's quite sexy. Suyun laughed dryly. Underwear is not suitable. Suyun saw that Qin Wan was not in the mood to pay attention to him. So he put the shampoo on the counter and turned to leave calmly. Remember to close the door when you wear so little next time. Suyun. I'll kill you. Qin Wan roared and quickly put on her coat. Don't you need to knock before entering the bathroom? Suyun quickly went to his room and closed the door. How would I know that you have such a serious exhibitionist? You wear so little in the bathroom and look in the mirror at night. That's a public area, okay? Qin Wan had obviously rushed out of the bathroom. Wan Qingshuang and Guogua also came out of the room. Guogua asked curiously, Sister Wan, what's wrong with you? Did Dad peek at you taking a shower? Suyun heard that and shouted in the room. Guogua, am I that kind of person? Even if he peeks, he should do it openly. Why would he peek at Qin Wan? Her figure is so ordinary. Sister Qingshuang, why do we let a man live here? It's so inconvenient. Qin Wan really wanted to kill Suyun, the bastard who took advantage of her. Let's ask him to move out, okay? Qin Wan first come, first served. You should be the one to move out. Suyun opened the door as soon as she heard that. Guogua sighed and looked worried. Stop arguing. Sister Wan, you won't lose anything if Dad looks at you. The underwear that Guogua gave you was also paid for by him. It's reasonable for him to look at it. What kind of logic was that? Qin Wan's expression changed. Suyin paid for it? He bought it? Yes. Guogua nodded. Suyin, are you a pervert? Qin Wan'er was furious. She raised her foot and threw the slipper at him. How can you buy women's underwear? Tell me clearly, did you do anything dirty with this? F***ck. Suyin quickly closed the door. He didn't want to be hit in the face by the slipper. Ruan Qingshuang smiled bitterly. Wan'er, don't be angry. Suyin meant well. Well, he gave it to me. Qin Wan'er was sweating. She thought, he should give it to you. Your daughter calls him dad. Of course she wouldn't say that. Qin Wan'er knew Ruan Qingshuang's character. She would be embarrassed if she said that. Guogua pulled Qin Wan'er back to the house and said innocently, Sister Wan'er, it's 6,000 yuan for a set of underwear. Who cares who gave it to them? That makes sense. Qin Wan'er nodded thoughtfully. She hadn't worn such expensive clothes before. She didn't expect a set of underwear to be worth so much money. Forget it. She would let Suyin go for the sake of money. Since Guogua had to go to school the next morning, Ruan Qingshuang urged her to go to bed early. Qin Wan'er also went back to her room and fell into bed. After being promoted, there were a lot of meetings. It was so annoying. When Cho Yun returned to the medicinal cuisine house, it was already late at night. However, she still didn't feel sleepy. Suyin pushed the door open and walked out of the room. He smiled faintly. Did you find anything? No. Cho Yun didn't say much. Maybe the master doesn't care about those insignificant people. Suyun's eyes were cold. Do you want to ask the people of the Knife and Axe Society tomorrow? I don't know if their boss knows anything. Cho Yun's eyes were cold. I'll go with you. No need. They will send themselves to me. Suyin chuckled. Guogua will start school tomorrow. You'd better send her to school. If someone else sends Guogua to school, even if I'm not worried, you won't be, right? Cho Yun just thought of this. She nodded and said concisely, okay. The internal strength in your body has been eliminated. I don't need to continue with the acupuncture. Suyin smiled. Remember to take 1 vigor pill a day. After eating it, you'll be almost healed. Cho Yun couldn't help but think of how Suyin had seen her naked body to save her last night. She felt embarrassed. She nodded and turned to go back to her room. Perhaps because it was the first day of school, Guogua woke up very early. After eating the breakfast prepared by Suyin, Guogua was escorted to school by Ruan Qingshuang and Cho Yun. Suyin stayed in the medicinal cuisine house. 10 minutes later, Peng Gang, Chang, and the others arrived. Suyin didn't bother to be polite with them, and immediately started work. As soon as they started work, Suyin saw 3 to 5 gangsters across the street get into a black Santana and disappear. He couldn't help but feel happy. The speed of the report was quite fast. It seemed that he didn't have to wait too long. Half an hour later, several cars stopped in front of the medicinal cuisine house. Nearly 30 people got out of the cars. Peng Gang looked out and suddenly panicked. He was at a loss. He shouted to Chang, Xiaofei, and the others, "Run! You guys run!" Peng Gang was very clear about the purpose of Wei Weiming's visit. He was going to attack his workers. Peng Gang didn't want anyone to get hurt. He would rather be disabled than hurt others. However, Qiangzi and the others did not run away. One by one, they confidently put down the work in their hands, and casually picked up the appropriate tools and walked out. With Brother Yin supporting them, why should they be afraid? Wei Weiming, who was dressed in Adidas, walked forward casually and spat out a mouthful of phlegm. Peng Gang, you're working again? Have you thought it through? Hey, give me 20,000 yuan, and I'll let you work comfortably. You won't have to worry about anything in the future. Peng Gang winked at Chang several times, but Chang and the others still didn't want to run away. Wei Weiming, I don't have money. If you want to do something, come at me. Peng Gang had no choice. He gritted his teeth and strode out of the medicinal cuisine house. He stood in front of the gangsters of the Knife and Axe gang. They're not my workers. Don't touch them. Wei Weiming's eyes turned cold. You with the surname Pang, I think you're really shameless. You treat Brother Jia's words like fart? Last time, you didn't pay the management fee when you were renovating the house. I didn't have time to deal with you. Do you really think I can't do anything to you? Pang Gang raised his head righteously. Anyway, they're not my people. If you have anything, come at me. Brothers. Wei Weiming's eyes were vicious, and a cruel smile appeared on his face. He ordered, everyone who is working here today, cut off 3 fingers for me. Let Pang Gang see if we, the Knife and Axe Gang, eat meat or eat vegetables. F***CKU. As soon as he said that, 20 to 30 burly men took out the machetes and axes hidden in their waists. Their eyes were fierce. Chang's palms were sweating. He remembered that Brother Yin was beside him. How come he couldn't find him now? Thinking of this, Chang's head was covered in cold sweat. The Knife and Axe Gang's thugs were a group of fierce tigers from the northeast. They were famous for being ruthless. Pang Gang, didn't you refuse to pay? I'd like to see who dares to work for you in the future. Wei Weiming sneered. He looked like a villain who had gotten his way. Pang Gang, a real man, actually clenched his teeth and knelt on the ground. Chang and the others were shocked speechless. Xiao Fei's mouth was wide open. Since he was young, he had always been proud of having a brave uncle. But now a real man had gold under his knees. They're really not my people. I beg you to let them go. Pang Gang spat out these words between his teeth. I beg you. Wei Weiming saw that this tough bone, which he couldn't bite through several times, was actually kneeling. He was instantly satisfied. He raised his head and laughed wildly. Ha ha, they're not your people? Okay, if someone admits to being their leader, I'll King let you go. Ha ha ha, otherwise I'll chop them all up today. Who's so bold to touch my people? Chapter 42. Su Yin held a 4-ringed ice cream in his mouth and carried a transparent plastic bag. He walked past Wei Weiming and the other burly men in his slippers and went straight to the entrance of the medicinal cuisine restaurant. Chang was overjoyed and hurried over to greet him. Su Yin was their spiritual support. Even if he just stood there and didn't do anything, Chang and the others would know what to do. They wouldn't be as scared as they were just now. It's hot today. 1 for each of you. If there's an extra one, keep it for me. Su Yin handed the 4-ringed ice cream to Chang, and then reached out to pull up Pang Gang, who was kneeling on the ground. It was easy for him to pull up a person who weighed more than 150 kilograms. Pang Gang stood up, but Su Yin pushed him back a few steps. He frowned and said to Pang Gang, if you want to work for me, don't be lazy. Do what you're supposed to do. Don't waste time. Su Yin. You. Pang Gang was at a loss for words and couldn't say anything else. Wei Weiming didn't understand what was going on at all. However, Su Yin's disdain for him was vividly displayed. This was because this kid didn't even look him in the eye. Although Wei Weiming knew that he wasn't very capable, everyone in the Knife and Axe Gang gave him face. After all, the boss, Fan Nanjia, was his cousin. No one dared to look down on him like this and treat him like he was nothing. Bastard. Wei Weiming was furious and scolded. Do you King know who I am? Su Yin seemed to have suddenly realized that there was someone at the door. He turned his head indifferently and said indifferently, I don't care who you are. Since you're here, stay here and work for me for a day. Consider it compensation for yesterday's work. Wei Weiming was completely enraged. This construction foreman wearing slippers, singlet, and shorts actually dared to challenge him. Today, I'll King let you know that the King of Hell is in charge of little ghosts. Su Yin couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with him. He threw away the half-eaten ice cream in his hand, turned around and grabbed Wei Weiming's collar. Suddenly, he exerted force and pulled. Before Wei Weiming could react, his entire body was lifted into the air. He only felt that the world was spinning in front of him before he slammed his head on the ground. In an instant, his head was bleeding all over. I was looking for you. You delivered yourself to me. Su Yin sneered. His wrist suddenly exerted strength again, lifting up Wei Weiming who had been thrown to the ground. He said sternly, you want management fee, right? Today, I'll give it to you. While speaking, Su Yin slapped Wei Weiming across the face. That slap was accompanied by a fierce gust of wind as it ruthlessly slapped Wei Weiming's face. Wei Weiming's body flew through the air and spun twice before falling heavily onto his black Toyota Highlander. With a loud crash, a deep hole was formed in the front of the car. The spotless windshield was also splashed with blood. Wei Weiming lay motionless on the front of the car like a dead dog. He was panting heavily, half dead. Su Yun's series of actions were all done in one go. He was so skilled that it was like an otaku opening the D drive of a computer and quickly finding a hidden Japanese action movie in a large folder. Pang Gang's pupils shrank and his jaw dropped. He had never seen someone so skilled in fighting. Not only were his attacks ruthless, but they were also very measured. He knew how to not kill or cripple. Pang Gang had been in the army for 8 years, but he had never seen such a ferocious guy. Wei Weiming was beaten down so fiercely that the 30 or so burly men he brought with him trembled. However, these guys were villains who relied on their fists to survive. Even if their leader, Wei Weiming, was captured, they would not give up because of this. Instead, they all raised their vigilance and flashed the weapons in their hands. Su Yun was not nervous at all. He still had a smile on his face as he looked at the 30 or so hoodlums. He rubbed his fists and cracked his bones. Nearly 30 thugs stepped forward one after another, emitting a ferocious aura that gradually spread out, even affecting the surrounding shops. The owners of the nearby shops closed their doors one after another, ignoring the matter as if it had nothing to do with them. Chang and the others, who were originally cheering because Brother Yun defeated Wei Weiming, stopped their complacent expressions and stared at the two sides in silence. Perhaps it was because the axes in the opponent's hands were too sharp, but Chang could not help but gulp and sweat for Su Yun in his heart. Chop him to death. Although this group of hoodlums did not have Wei Weiming, they definitely did not lack a leader who could give orders. The leader roared and raised the axe in his hand to chop down on Su Yun's left shoulder. The guy in front of him had a cold smile on his face. His calm demeanor made him feel extremely uncomfortable. Pang Gang's body suddenly trembled. This was definitely not the calmness a normal person would have when faced with a thorny and dangerous situation. A person who had never been on the brink of death would definitely not be so calm in the face of a sharp axe. Just as the axe was about to chop down on his shoulder, Su Yun suddenly stuck out his leg. The tip of his foot was like a snake coming out of its hole, and fiercely hooked onto the right armpit of the hoodlum who was wielding the axe. The axe was instantly thrown out of his hand and directly into the air. Su Yun suddenly reached out and grabbed the handle of the axe that was thrown high up. With a flick of his wrist, the surface of the axe became balanced. Perhaps it was because he was not satisfied with slapping Wei Weiming just now. Su Yun fiercely swung the axe that had formed a horizontal surface in his hand towards the face of the hoodlum, who was hugging his armpit and kneeling in pain. This guy did not even have the chance to cry out before he was slapped to the ground by Su Yun. Just like Wei Weiming, his head was covered with pus and blood. It was a tragic sight. Beside the hoodlum who had just fallen to the ground, a fatty who weighed more than 100 kilograms suddenly roared and pounced toward Su Yun. Su Yun was too lazy to dodge, and took advantage of the opportunity to kick up. The fatty's abdomen instantly felt a piercing pain, and his body that weighed more than 100 kilograms flew out and smashed directly into a van. The van became a fish in the pond, and the windshield shattered with a crash. The fatty was also caught in the front windshield, and after a few helpless struggles, he gave up on the idea of getting out. After that, Su Yun grabbed the hair of the person who had attacked next to him and ruthlessly slammed his face into the wall. His movements were skillful and not sloppy at all. Wei Weiming and the rest of the hoodlums finally came to a realization. The little contractor in front of them was not the kind of fierce person they usually saw. This was a pervert who had long since gotten sick of ordinary fights. With this kind of skill, he would definitely take first place in the international scout competition. This little contractor who wore flowery underpants and flip-flops was already infinitely close to a god of war in the eyes of the hoodlums. However, this did not stop them from waving the axes and machetes in their hands. If they did not chop him up, they would be scolded to death by their boss when they returned. Su Yun was also not an idiot who would be pleased with himself after knocking down 1 or 2 people. He knew that this group of people were not trash who had never fought a fierce fight, and had never seen blood before. Therefore, his moves were decisive and ruthless, seeking to take down the enemy in one blow with every move. In the blink of an eye, close to 30 people were tangled up with Su Yun. Su Yun was not the kind of mythical figure who could sweep away an army of thousands with one big move. but his agile and phantom-like footsteps allowed him to move through the group of fierce people with ease. Soon the entrance of the medicinal cuisine restaurant was filled with people kneeling on the ground, wailing and wailing. "Brother, there's one left." Chang finished distributing the ice cream, and then handed the remaining piece to Su-yun. Su-yun took the last 4 circles and tore it open with a chuckle. He took a bite, then put away his smile and said with an unhappy expression, "You wasted so much time, the ice cream is about to melt." Pang Gang could not even laugh now. What kind of person was Su-yun? "If you can stand up, then stop pretending. Get up and work." Su-yun took a big bite of his favorite 4 circles and walked to Wei Weiming's side. He dragged him out of the car like dragging a dead dog. "If you don't get up and work, I'll give you a kick." After Su-yun finished speaking, he threw Wei Weiming to the ground and raised his leg to kick him. Wei Weiming's body flew horizontally and was kicked directly to the outer wall of the medicinal cuisine restaurant like a sandbag. He spat out a mouthful of pus and blood, his eyeballs almost popping out. You. What about me?" Su-yun slowly walked to Wei Weiming. "I know how hard I hit. My heart is like a mirror." Hearing this, the hooligans who were originally lying on the ground all gritted their teeth and stood up. None of them wanted to be kicked again. Su-yun's lesson just now was just right. They had completely lost their fighting spirit, but they could still take care of themselves. Although you don't get paid, you still have to work hard. Ask Brother Pang what you need to do. If you want to slack off, then try. Su-yun glanced at Pang Gang, then waved to Chang. "Supervise them properly." Chang's mouth was wide open and his smile almost reached his ears. "Yes." Su-yun slowly walked to Wei Weiming's side and squatted down with a smile. "How is it? Quite comfortable? Aren't you going to get up and work?" Wei Weiming's eyes turned pale with fright. He hurriedly said, "Do you know who my cousin is?" "I only know that I didn't want to break your bones. I left you to exert more force." Su-yun's 5 steel-like fingers pinched Wei Weiming's face. "I'll ask you one last time. Do you want to lie down or do you want to do manual labor?" Wei Weiming's voice trembled, but he still stubbornly said, "My cousin is Fan Nanjia. If you don't want to die, then let me go. I'm warning you, you better not mess around." Su-yun sighed. "You really are a cooked duck. Your mouth is quite stubborn." After Pang Gang arranged work for the hooligans who had been beaten up by Su-yun, he lit a cigarette and walked over. His face was faintly clouded. "Su-yun, Fan Nanjia is really not to be trifled with. What you did today was a bit reckless." "It's good that you know." Wei Weiming glared at Pang Gang with hatred. Su-yun kicked Wei Weiming's mouth, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood and a few teeth. He hated hearing this stubborn fellow's voice. Pang Gang frowned and continued, "Brother, I advise you to go out and hide for a while. I'll take care of this myself." "Ha." Su-yun laughed and shook his head. "No need." Pang Gang was anxious and couldn't help but clench his fists. Fan Nanjia is not an ordinary hooligan. He has support. His power can surpass the deep-rooted Four-Wolf Gang in a short period of time, because the bosses of the East, West, and North all supported him to become the boss of the South. Su-yun's face had a faint smile. "Interesting. So you're saying that if I kill him, the entire South where the Wenhui district is located will be at peace?" Pang Gang's eyes almost popped out. "Do you know what you're saying? Are you kidding me? Do you want to become the enemy of the entire underworld in Hedong City?" Su-yun shrugged and said disapprovingly, "So what?" Chapter 43. Ruan Qingshuang and Chou Yun sent Guogua to school on time. Chou Yun insisted on waiting for Guogua to finish school. Ruan Qingshuang was worried about the things in the restaurant, so she came back alone. Su-yun knew that Chou Yun was worried about the environment around the school. After all, Qin Wen'er had brought back some half-true and half-false news yesterday. Even if it was not reliable, it was enough to make Chou Yun cautious for 3 to 5 days. Ruan Qingshuang walked into the medicinal cuisine restaurant. The first thing she saw was the people who had been beaten black and blue by Su-yun. She quickly called out to Chang. "Chang, what's wrong with these people?" "Brother Yun caught some strong men." Chang grinned and did not explain much. Brother Yin is upstairs. You can ask him. Ruan Qingshuang quickly walked upstairs. The group of bruised and swollen guys looked like hooligans. She was really worried that Su Yin would offend someone again. At this time, Su Yin was brewing a pot of tea on the second floor, leisurely reading the newspaper. Su Yin found the newspaper in Wei Weiming's Toyota Highlander. He did not know which small printing company had printed it. It was all trivial news, such as a man who hooked up with a woman on WeChat, got cheated out of a lot of money, and so on. Su Yin, what's wrong with those people downstairs? Ruan Qingshuang did not have time to drink water and asked hurriedly. Su Yin saw Ruan Qingshuang come back and put the newspaper away. Sister Shuang, yesterday they beat up Brother Pang's renovation workers. I was just returning the favor. Ruan Qingshuang was surprised. They are the group of people who beat people up yesterday? Then why don't you call the police and let one or arrest them? Don't. Guogua, that police ghost, finally went to school. Don't bother the police anymore. Su Yin hurriedly said. Even if Qin Wan'er brings people here, she can't change what happened yesterday. It's better for me to deal with it myself. At least I can keep these people here. But Ruan Qingshuang couldn't use Su Yin's brain to think about the problem. Su Yin shook his finger and pointed to the 3 stacks of banknotes on the table. Don't think so much. Keep the money on the table. I borrowed it from you yesterday. I'm returning it to you. Ruan Qingshuang looked at the 30,000 yuan on the table and asked with concern. Are the workers in the hospital okay? I don't need the money right now. If you need it, you can take it first. Su Yin smiled. The workers are fine. I have enough money now. I don't need it. You can keep it. If I need it, I'll ask you for more. Anyway, Su Yin found the money in Wei Weiming's car. There was a total of 50,000 yuan wrapped up neatly in newspaper. After Su Yin gave the 30,000 to Ruan Qingshuang, he gave the remaining 20,000 to Pang Gang. At first, Pang Gang said that he didn't want it. After all, the hospital fees were almost paid. But later he couldn't persuade Su Yin and took the money. However, he didn't put a cent into his own pocket. He added another 1,000 yuan and gave the 7 workers 3,000 yuan as nutrition fees. Pang Gang took the money to the hospital. Chang watched the people from the Knife and Axe Society work downstairs. Su Yin was happy to be free. He drank tea and read the newspaper on the second floor. Now that the medicinal cuisine house was closed, Ruan Qingshuang had nothing to do. She packed her clothes and went to wash them. The bilingual international school was definitely a school full of luxury. Just look at the clothes of the students in Su Xiaoran's class. Burberry, Ralph Lauren, Makuya, and other luxury brands for children's clothing were all affordable. Guogua's tutu skirt was obviously not as expensive as her classmates, but her temperament was surprisingly much better than the other rich kids. After 2 classes, she basically became the king of the children. Su Xiaoran experienced Guogua's power on the first day. After chatting for a while, she really felt that the word cute could no longer be used to describe this little girl. She was a demon. Miss Su, can I call you sister? Guogua ran to Su Xiaoran's desk after class. She was not afraid of strangers at all. If you call Qin Wan'er sister, then you can call me sister. Su Xiaoran was very fond of Guogua, who was full of spiritual energy. But you can only call me that outside of school. Guogua looked surprised. So Miss Su knows Sister Wan'er? Of course. Su Xiaoran smiled and said, not only do we know each other, but we were best friends who ate a bowl of instant noodles in high school. Guogua's eyes sparkled, and she looked full of admiration. You two have a good relationship. Then will you marry the same husband in the future? Su Xiaoran frowned. What kind of question was this? Guogua said seriously, Miss Su, I want Sister Wan'er to be my little mother, and she is living with us now. Su Xiaoran listened for a long time, and didn't understand what she meant. Guogua, you mean Qin Wan'er is living with you? Yes, she is living with me, my mom, my dad, and sister Cho Yun. Guogua said proudly, my dad's medicinal cuisine is very delicious. Miss Su, when will you try it? Wait. Su Xiaoran felt so confused. How could Qin Wan'er live with other people's families? And she was going to be Guogua's little mother. Su Xiaoran felt dizzy the more she thought about it. The family relationship was too complicated. Guogua touched her chin and said, since Miss Su and Sister Wan are good friends, then you can also be Guogua's little mother. Oh this. Teacher, you should be Guogua's sister. Su Xiaoran had already realized that the person in front of her was a little devil. However, Guogua didn't think so. If Su Xiaoran could become her little mother, then wouldn't she be able to do whatever she wanted in class? Those brats who put on airs definitely wouldn't dare to show off in front of her, and would all pledge their allegiance to her. But Guogua still thinks it is better for you to be my little mother. Guogua was very persistent. Actually, my dad is a very good person. A burst of soothing music sounded, and Su Xiaoran was relieved. Fortunately, the bell rang, and she didn't have to worry about this problem anymore. Guogua, go to class quickly. Just stick to one more class and school will be over. Looking at Guogua skipping away, Su Xiaoran breathed a sigh of relief. She wanted to call Qinwan and ask what was going on. How could such a cute little girl's family be so messy? Since Qinwan was promoted to the position of the instructor of the police station, it was indeed a lot easier for her. She didn't have to worry about the miscellaneous things at all, and she didn't need to rush around when she was on duty. The main thing she was responsible for every day was to assign and summarize the tasks given by the station, and then organize and report the daily work to the station. Except for the headache of having too many meetings, everything else was fine. Su Xiaoran's phone call made Qinwan feel very good. Miss Su, why did you suddenly think of me? You don't think of me, but you don't allow me to think of you? Su Xiaoran snorted. Comrade Qinwan, I have something to warn you seriously. You have to pay attention to your lifestyle. Now you seem to be suspected of destroying other people's families. I want to tell you seriously, enough is enough. Qinwan really wanted to reach out and knock Su Xiaoran's head with her fist. What are you talking about? My lifestyle has a problem? Did your head get caught by the door? Hey, would I talk nonsense without evidence? Su Xiaoran said in a serious tone. Guogua said that you live with her parents. You still don't admit it? F***ck. Although Qinwan was not the quiet and gentle kind, she was not the kind of person who would get angry easily. You believe everything a child says. Su Xiaoran, are you an idiot? Su Xiaoran snorted. You are an idiot. Children don't lie. Guogua was adopted by Sister Qingshuang. Don't you know that? How can you be a teacher like this? Qinwan couldn't hold back and directly told her about Guogua's identity. Then, she told Su Xiaoran about the current situation of Ruan Qingshuang and Guogua in detail, including the troubles in the medicinal cuisine house. She didn't hide anything. But Qinwan didn't say that she stayed in the medicinal cuisine house because she was interested in the mysterious Su Yun. She just said that she wanted to protect Ruan Qingshuang and Guogua. Su Xiaoran listened with tears in her eyes. While she pitied Guogua and admired Ruan Qingshuang, she also had a strong curiosity about Su Yun. Su Yun was a heartless father who drove a second-hand Citroën in her eyes. She never thought that he was a comrade who was willing to help Ruan Qingshuang and Guogua for free. Alas, people who didn't know Su Yun would never understand him. For free? How could it be? Guogua promised him that she would help him win over her mother. The renovation of the medicinal cuisine house was in full swing. While Ruan Qingshuang was washing clothes upstairs, Su Yun came down. He kicked Wei Weiming, who was like a puddle of mud, with the tip of his foot. Haven't you called for help yet? Damn, I've been waiting for so long. Wei Weiming really wanted to bite the arrogant bastard in front of him to death. My phone was taken away by your people. Brother Yin, do you really want him to call for help? Chang took Wei Weiming's phone and walked to Su Yun. Fan Nanjie is not like Wang Xuanxi. Although he is young, he is ruthless. If he really calls for help, it will be troublesome if Fan Nanjie really brings hundreds of people. After the pleasure of trampling on people, Chang finally realized the terrible consequences of offending Fan Nanjie. Then what do you think we should do? Su Yun narrowed his eyes. He already had an idea in his mind. Chang didn't say anything for a while. He really didn't know how to deal with this matter. Did he really have to wait for Fan Nanjie to come for revenge? According to Fan Nanjie's ruthless style, He would definitely not smash the shop like the fourth wolf gang. He would definitely target people. Wei Weiming saw the struggle on Chang's face and sneered. It's too late to be afraid now. My cousin. Clang. Su Yin wasn't interested in listening to his bragging. He grabbed Wei Weiming's face and suddenly slammed the back of his head against the wall. Wei Weiming's vision turned black and completely lost consciousness. In that case, I have to take the initiative. Su Yin touched his chin. Now Cho Yun wanted to control the surrounding hooligans. Then he would do her a favor and directly take down the Blade Axe gang. At least these people were controlled. Guogua and Cho Yun would have an extra layer of safety. Ruan Qingshuang and the medicinal cuisine house would also have a lot less trouble. Why not? Brother Yin, what do you mean? Chang swallowed a mouthful of saliva. I'll treat you to a bath tonight. You come with me. Su Yin smiled. Let's go to the tropical rainforest bath center. Bathing in the summer at a bath center? Crazy. Chapter 44. With nearly 30 free men working, the work speed was very fast. After a day, these punks who had been beaten up before were no longer as arrogant as before. They didn't eat or drink a single drop of water for the whole day. The feeling of hunger was torturous. Guogua was still early after school in the afternoon. On the first day of school, Cho Yun secretly accompanied her for the whole day. Of course, Guogua didn't know about this. Dad, who are these unlucky people? Guogua returned to the medicinal cuisine restaurant and saw that there was something wrong with these people. Yesterday they beat up the workers who renovated our restaurant. Today, they're here to atone for their sins. Su Yin bent down and picked up Guogua. He was in a good mood and asked with a smile, "How was school today? Were you good? Did Miss Su say that she missed us?" Guogua nodded with a serious face. "Of course, I was more than good. I even helped you pick up Miss Su." F***ck. Su Yin really wanted to bang his head against the wall. He guessed that before he could pick up Miss Su, Guogua would have already ruined it. What do you plan to do with these people? Cho Yun suddenly asked. Su Yin shook his head. I'm still thinking about it. I'm afraid that if I let them go back, they might leak information. There's really no place to put them here. I'll take care of it. Cho Yun finished speaking and turned to leave to make a few phone calls. In less than half an hour, 3 cars arrived at the entrance of the medicinal cuisine restaurant. One was a Land Rover, one was a Jeep Wrangler, and one was an Audi Q5. All of them were off-road vehicles worth 400,000 to 500,000 yuan. 3 ruffians with bulky bodies got out of the 3 cars, but they were all respectful to Cho Yun. Su Yin smiled slightly. He knew that Cho Yun didn't go out to kill time last night. For Guogua's safety, she had begun to intervene in the underworld forces in the Wenhui district's southeast district. And it seemed that she had gained a lot. F***ck. Chang was so shocked that his mouth fell open. Although these people weren't as notorious as the bosses of the Blade Axe gang and the Four Wolves gang, they were definitely not to be trifled with. Kongzhong, Lufeng, Dan Hongning. The 3 tigers of Nancheng. They are the big bosses in our city's Nanbei district too. The 3 tigers of Nancheng was a collective name for Kongzhong, Lufeng, and Dan Hongning. These 3 people were not simple. When they were in high school, they were the bosses of the 3 middle schools in Hudong City. After dropping out of school, they didn't stay idle. Kongzhong and his brothers started a business that made a lot of money. Lufeng took the opportunity of the city's construction and demolition to start a construction team. Dan Hongning's family was relatively wealthy, so he opened a Hong Kong and Macau Dulu, which was also very profitable. These 3 people could make money in peace, but of course, they were involved in some illegal activities. These days, if you didn't have many brothers under your command, you would be bullied no matter what you did. Since these 3 people were able to get to this point, they must have some tricks up their sleeves. Although Su Yin didn't know these people, from the quality of their cars, he could tell that they were at least 10 times more successful than Chang. Cho Yun wasn't good at dealing with them, so she pointed at Su Yin and said, "Do whatever he says." After instructing a few people, Cho Yun took Guogua upstairs. Guogua was too lazy to pay attention to these messy things. Carrying her small school bag, she ran up the stairs. She hadn't seen Mother Wan for a whole day, so she missed her. She didn't know if her mother missed her too. The three gangsters who were nearly 1.8 meters tall had sullen faces, but they didn't dare to say anything. A few days ago, there was some trouble at Lu Feng's construction site. The three of them were good brothers, so Kong Zhong and Dan Honing helped a lot. Therefore, Lu Feng set up a party to thank them. However, before he could drink a few bottles of wine, Cho Yun walked directly into their private room. Dan Hongning thought she was Lu Feng's new girl, so he opened his mouth and wanted to flirt with her. However, before he could finish a sentence, he was kicked over. Lu Feng and Kong Zhong were immediately enraged. Cho Yun suddenly chopped the table with her sword. The three of them had brought along their underlings, who were all fierce and capable of fighting 1 against 10, but within 10 seconds, they were all thrown to the ground by Cho Yun. Each of them had a shallow cut on their necks. If Cho Yun had used a bit more strength, the room would have been littered with corpses. The three tigers of Nanqing were dumbfounded on the spot, knowing that they had encountered a real fierce person. One of Lu Feng's underlings pulled out a knife and wanted to launch a sneak attack. Cho Yan's figure strangely dodged the knife and grabbed the knife with her bare hands. With a twist, the underling's arm was turned 90 degrees into a right angle. The squeal like a pig being slaughtered still made the three tigers of Nanqing's scalp numb. Su Yun smiled and looked at the three gangsters who Chang said came to him with a sullen face. "Brother, what's the matter?" Kong Zhong looked Su Yun up and down. Apart from being a little more handsome than himself, this kid was definitely not as good as himself. He was more cautious as he smiled and politely said, "Elder Sister Yen has instructed us. If you have something to say, just say it." Dan Hongning couldn't help but frown when he saw Su Yun. He was obviously not a smiling tiger like Kong Zhong. There was a trace of impatience between his eyebrows. "Say it. What do you want from us? I'm still busy." Among the three, Lu Feng was the one who didn't take Su Yun seriously. He was afraid of Cho Yun, not the slovenly kid in front of him. "Kid, what are you laughing at? If Sister Yin didn't say so, I wouldn't have asterisk king come. What are you talking about? Watch your mouth." Chang was angry when he heard it. Although these people were more famous than him in the underworld, he had Brother Yin to back him up. He wasn't afraid of anything. "Who are you? How dare you talk to me like that?" Lu Feng didn't even look at Chang. "When your wings are strong enough, don't try to bluff in front of me." Kong Zhong coughed softly as if to remind Lu Feng that Cho Yun was upstairs. Dan Honing patted Lu Feng's shoulder and whispered, "Let's just do what's on the surface." Yo, Su Yun was amused. These people were quite interesting. It seemed that they only respected Cho Yun. He really wanted to know what Cho Yun did to them last night. However, Cho Yun was a typical warrior who only cared about killing but not burying. She didn't have the intention to lead the army. Therefore, Su Yun decided to let them follow Sister Shuang. "Hee, let's talk nicely. We're all trying to make a living. It's not easy for anyone." Kong Zhong mediated. He took out a pack of cigarettes from his pocket and gave one to Dan Hongning and Lu Feng. Then he gave it to Su Yin and Chang. Su Yin refused. "I don't need it." Chang didn't hold back. He took it and lit it. It was 250 yuan. Just as Chang lit the cigarette, Su Yin pointed at him and said to the three rude and fierce hooligans in front of him, "Since it's not easy to make a living, you guys will follow him from now on." The atmosphere suddenly became quiet. The three hooligans who had some reputation in the south of Hudong City all looked at the arrogant kid. Chang was also dumbfounded. The cigarette he lit fell to the ground. "Brother, you want me to be the boss?" Su Yin reached out and poked Chang's head. "Bullshit. Your boss is me, my boss is Guogua, and Guogua's boss is Sister Shuang. Who do you think is the boss?" "Sister Shuang." Chang nodded vigorously. "Brother, we don't have time to joke with you." The blue veins on Dan Hongning's neck popped. If it weren't for the woman who took down 4 of his best men, he would have been angry. Lu Feng had been impatient for a long time. Fortunately, Kong Zhong was holding him down, so he didn't do anything stupid. Su Yin didn't talk nonsense with them. Since Cho Yun could subdue them, he could also make them behave. Su Yin waved to Chang and said, "Bring that bastard and his men out." "Okay." Chang immediately ordered Xiao Fei to bring those men who had been able-bodied for a day to line up. He went in and dragged Wei Weiming out like a dead dog. With a clang, Wei Weiming was thrown in front of everyone by Chang. Wei Weiming's face was swollen and full of blood, so Lu Feng and Dan Hongning didn't recognize him for a while until Kong Zhong exclaimed, "Wei Weiming!" Dan Hongning's face changed instantly. This guy had guts. He dared to beat Fan Nanjia's men like this. Lu Feng was also speechless. He didn't take this kid seriously, but now it seemed that he was wrong. This kid didn't take them seriously at all. He didn't even put Wei Weiming of the Blade and Axe Society in his eyes. Was he beaten to death? What I want you to do is very simple. Find a place to lock these people up. Tomorrow morning, send them here to continue to be my able-bodied men. Su Yun smiled slightly. He was now a demon in the eyes of Wei Weiming and his gang. Even if he smiled, it was enough to make people's hair stand on end. Kong Zhong's Adam's apple moved, and he swallowed a mouthful of saliva. This guy actually wanted them to help him imprison the Blade and Axe Society? Wasn't this clearly asking them to offend Fan Nanjia? Fan Nanjia was now supported by the big shots of the other 3 districts. Offending him was tantamount to cutting off their own future. Lu Feng wanted to ask this guy in front of him if he knew the immensity of heaven and earth, but he couldn't open his mouth. Finally, it was Dan Hongning who couldn't help but speak first. Do you know who you offended? What's his name? Su Yun really forgot, and turned to ask Chang. Chang's mouth twitched. Every time this person was mentioned, he was always a little flustered. Fan Nanjia. Oh right. Su Yun nodded and said to Dan Hongning, "It's the person your brother Chang talked about." Brother Chang? Lu Feng sneered in his heart. If you want to die, I won't stop you, but we won't accompany you. Is Fan Nanjia someone you can afford to offend? So you're saying that you're not going to do as I say? A cold light flashed in Su Yun's eyes, and a biting cold murderous aura suddenly erupted from his body. It was like a flash of lightning across the sky, and it fiercely smashed into Dan Hongning's body. Lu Feng was completely intimidated by the murderous aura. A bone-piercing chill slowly rose from the bottom of his heart, and a huge sense of fear completely crushed him. The person in front of him didn't even make a move, and only used his aura to completely crush him. Was he a human or a ghost? Lu Feng's legs went soft, and he almost couldn't stand. Su Yun's imposing aura couldn't help but completely crush Dan Hongning's fragile heart, and it also affected Dan Hongning and Kong Zhong who were standing beside him. The 2 of them could even clearly feel the cold sweat on their foreheads, and a large wet patch on the back of their clothes. Cho Yun slowly walked down the stairs, and without even looking at the 3 of them, she took out a bottle of mineral water from the fridge and slowly walked up the stairs. At the corner of the stairs, her cold gaze fiercely swept over the 3 of them. She was upstairs, so of course she could hear the voices downstairs. Kong Zhong and Dan Hongning finally admitted defeat. They didn't expect a small medicinal cuisine restaurant to have hidden dragons and crouching tigers. Brother Yin, from now on, will do whatever you say. Kong Zhong was the first to make the right choice. I, Kong Zhong, will follow you from now on. If there's anything you need, just say the word. Although Dan Hongning was unwilling, Cho Yun's cold gaze made his heart tremble, and he had no choice but to admit defeat. Climb a mountain of swords or plunge into a sea of fire. As long as it's something I can do, I won't complain. I'm willing to follow Brother Yin. Lu Feng was completely crushed by that biting cold murderous aura. Su Yun gave him an endless sense of mystery. Su Yun grinned. We're all just following Sister Shuang to make a living. Don't be so polite. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps came from the stairs. Guogua forcibly pulled the confused Ruan Qing to the corner of the stairs, and with a complacent expression, she looked down on everyone. Do you know who this is? Everyone stared in amazement. Chang held the moon in his hands and said to everyone, Look carefully, this is Sister Shuang, our future big sister. Chapter 45. Kong Zhong, Lu Feng, and Dan Hongning were all shocked. Was this the legendary big sister? She was as beautiful as a fairy, and her whole body exuded a kind aura. She didn't have the slightest murderous aura. Okay, you guys quickly follow Brother Yun's instructions and take these people away. Chang was now their superior, so of course he spoke with confidence. Okay. Although they didn't know how to deal with it, Kong Zhong and the others could only agree. Qin Wan, who had returned to the medicinal cuisine house after work, had been eavesdropping at the door for a while, but no one had noticed her. Hearing that someone was going to lynch, Qin Wan finally couldn't help it. Who gave you the right to privately detain people? Qin Wan said slowly. She walked into the medicinal cuisine house and stared at Su Yun, who had instigated this. Do you know what the police do? Chang stuck out his tongue and quickly hid behind Su Yun. Damn, why was this sister here again? The three tigers of Nanqing heard the voice and suddenly turned around. They couldn't help but gasp. What the F***ck? Wasn't this Qin Wan, who was now popular in the Hudong City police force? The violent policewoman who had single-handedly defeated Wang Xuanqi's fourth wolf gang. Ha! Qin Wan frowned. These three people looked a bit familiar. The three tigers of Nanqing definitely had a lot of dealings with the police station. Usually after a fight, they would personally go to the police station to bail out the underlings. Qin Wan had to be familiar with them. Before the three tigers of Nanqing spoke, Qin Wan had some impression. So it's the three of you who came here to cause trouble. Have we met in the station? Kong Zhong's face was full of smiles. As he spoke, he had already turned his gaze to Su Yun. Officer Qin, we wouldn't dare. This isn't our fault. Yes, Police Officer Qin. How would we dare to cause trouble in your area? Dan Honing also looked at Su Yun intentionally or unintentionally. Lu Feng had suffered losses in the hands of Qin Wan before. Now that Qin Wan-er's fame had spread in the underworld, he did not dare to say anything. However, his purpose was the same as the other two. They all quietly turned Qin Wan-er's spearhead to Su Yun. Su Yun looked at Qin Wan helplessly. Nothing good would come out of her appearance. Wei Weiming and his men would not be needed tomorrow. You got off work so early today? Do you miss me? Qin Wan stared at Su Yun and said, Miss your ass. What are you doing? What's going on? Aren't you going to explain it to me? They beat up my workers, and now they're here looking for trouble. I can't just ignore them, right? Su Yun pointed at the half-dead Wei Weiming and the group of bruised men. Qin Wan gritted her teeth and said, Do you have to do it yourself? Why didn't you call the police? I'm afraid you'll be busy. Su Yun's excuse was too unreliable. Hearing that Qin Wan had returned, Guogua ran downstairs again and rushed into Qin Wan-er's arms with a bright face. Sister Wan-er, so you know Miss Su. Qin Wan-er was too lazy to pay attention to Su Yun. She reached out and twisted Guogua's ear. Little thing, what nonsense did you say to Su Xiaoran? What do you mean I'm living with your father? Everyone was speechless. The three tigers of Southern City did not expect the man in front of them to be so familiar with the violent policewoman, Qin Wan. At first, they did not take Su Yun seriously. Now that they thought about it, they were really looking for trouble. The three of them were completely shocked. No wonder there was an old saying, you can't judge a book by its cover. Su Yun's back was covered in cold sweat. F***ck, was this how the little devil helped him get his beautiful teacher? Wan Qingshuang also heard the commotion and came downstairs. She looked at Guogua with a sad face. She really could not do anything to her. Sister Qingshuang, the station is giving out bonuses today. It's my treat. What do you want to eat? Just tell me. Qin Wan saw Wan Qingshuang and smiled. I also made an appointment with Guogua's homeroom teacher. Everyone can sit together and get to know each other. I forgot to tell you, Miss Su is my friend. Wan Qingshuang was surprised by the news. Really? Then it should be my treat. I'll call the station first. Qin Wan took out her phone and dialed the number of the Wenhui District Police Station. Xiao Wu, bring a few people to the medicinal cuisine restaurant. There are some troublemakers here. Let me count. 30. Okay, hurry up. Su Yun was in pain. His strong men were taken away just like that. Have you thought of what to eat? Qin Wan hung up the phone and smiled at Wan Qingshuang and Guogua. Guogua touched her chin and racked her brains. Eat. What should I eat? If the three tigers of Southern City were stunned just now, They were definitely shocked to the point that there was nothing left of them. Sister Shuang was indeed an unimaginable big sister. Not only did she have Su Yun and Cho Yun, but even the police beauty, Qin Wan called her sister and even invited her to a meal. Dan Hongning suddenly had an idea and said carefully, "Why don't we go to my Dolua city in Hong Kong and Macau to eat?" Guogua's eyes lit up. "Is there seafood? Fresh sashimi?" Yes. You can have whatever you want." Dan Hongning quickly nodded. This was a good opportunity. Now there were a few people in the underworld who didn't want to have a good relationship with police officer Qin. This was also a good opportunity for him to please his big sister. "Yeah, let's go to Xiao Dan's place. We can eat whatever we want." Kong Zhong was also very sensible. He knew that if he offended Sister Shuang, he would definitely be in trouble. Not to mention the mysterious person, Su Yun. Just a murderous Cho Yun could make him unable to survive. Guogua looked at these unfamiliar faces slyly. She exposed Kong Zhong and Dan Hongning's thoughts with one sentence. "Do you want to accompany me? Why are you flattering me? Do you not need to spend money to eat Dolua City in Hong Kong and Macau?" "Of course." Dan Hongning patted his chest. "We can eat whatever we want. Sister Shuang, police officer Qin, in the future, you can eat Dolua City in Hong Kong and Macau whenever you want. If I have the opportunity to pour tea for Sister Shuang, it will definitely be my honor." Kong Zhong smiled charmingly. "Sister Shuang, please give us some face. Police officer Qin, it will definitely be an honor for you to go." Ruan Qingxuang was completely confused by this inexplicable situation. These absolutely tyrannical people were actually nodding and bowing to her, and calling her Sister Shuang. "That's enough. All of you stop flattering me." Su Yun waved his hand impatiently. "Since Guogua wants to eat Dolua City, whoever owns the restaurant should hurry up and arrange it. You don't need to accompany me because you have something to do with me tonight." The three tigers of Nanqing were stunned and quickly recovered their serious faces. "Brother, just tell us what to do." Cho Yun went downstairs and glanced at the three of them. She said to Ruan Qingxuang, "Sister Shuang, in the future, if you have anything to do, just tell them. They won't dare to not do it." What do you mean?" Ruan Qingxuang was still confused. Qin Waner opened her eyes wide and looked at Cho Yun, then looked at Su Yun. Did they want Ruan Qingxuang to be the big boss of this group of big gangsters? However, she didn't dare to say this because she was afraid that Ruan Qingxuang wouldn't be able to accept it in a short time. Soon, Xiao Wu from the police station brought people to take Wei Weiming and the gang away. The medicinal cuisine restaurant didn't seem so crowded anymore. "What's your name?" Su Yun nodded to Dan Hongning. Dan Hongning was immediately flattered. "Brother Yun, you can call me Xiao Dan Hongning." "Okay, Xiao Dan, you take Sister Shuang and the others to eat Dolua City. Arrange it properly and send them back tonight." Su Yun didn't hold back. Anyway, Cho Yun had already subdued them, so he could order them around. Dan Hongning immediately accepted the order. "Dad, you're not going?" Guogua had a look of pity. "Miss Su is going. Wouldn't such a good opportunity be wasted?" Damn. He couldn't go. Who knew what Guogua would say during the meal that would make him speechless? Su Yun shook his head like a rattledrum. "Eat well. Eat as much as you can. Finish my portion. Also, don't talk bad about me in front of your teacher." "Su Yun, you're really not going with us." Ruan Qingxuang was a little disappointed. "If I go, I'll definitely want to eat myself." Su Yun secretly glanced at Guogua. "You guys go. I'll go to the hospital to see Pang Gang's workers. Xiaodan will take you guys there." Hearing Su Yun say this, Ruan Qingxuang didn't say anything else. Qin Wana rolled her eyes. "It's up to you whether you want to go or not. Anyway, I'll only treat you once. There won't be another chance in the future." "Sister Wan he said he doesn't need to pay." Guogua pointed at Dan Hongning. Dan Hongning nodded fiercely. The kid in front of him was the child of his big sister and brother Su Yun. Of course, he couldn't afford to offend him. Yes. Sister Shuang and Officer Qin are going to eat. I'm already proud to be able to eat at my place. Of course, I can't accept money. This group of hooligans." Qin Waner shook her head helplessly. She really didn't know what Su Yin and Cho Yun had done to them to make them so obedient. It should be known that these three people had never fawned over anyone before in the police station. Then let's go. Qin Won'er waved her hand. It would be a waste if they didn't eat. Dan Hongning immediately opened the door of his Audi Q5. Sister Shuang, please. Sister Yan, please. Officer Qin, please. Cough. Guogua coughed softly. Dan Hongning immediately bowed and said, Little beauty, please. Cho Yun sat in the front passenger seat. Ruan Qingxuang and Qin Won'er sat in the back, sandwiching Guogua in the middle. The five people quickly set off. Only Su Yin, Chang Xiaofei, Kong Zhong, and Lu Feng were left in the medicinal cuisine house. Brother Yin, what are we going to do? Lu Feng asked carefully. Do you need manpower? Kong Zhong also echoed. Yes, Brother Yin. If you need manpower, I have dozens of brothers in the sand field. Su Yin smiled slightly, and whispered to Chang to disperse Xiaofei and the other brothers. Then he said to them, Tonight, you guys come with me to the Tropical Rainforest Bathing Center to play. Tropical Rainforest Bathing Center. Kong Zhong and Lu Feng's faces turned green. Isn't that Fan Nanjia's territory? What does this Su Yin want to do? Even if he wants to fight with Fan Nanjia, he needs manpower. Just a few of them? Brother, if you want to play, I can take you to a better place. The hostesses there are much more exciting than the rainforest. Kong Zhong said with a panicked face. Su Yin was speechless. Do you think a handsome man like me needs hostesses? Lu Feng's expression changed. Of course not, but, brother, the bathing center is run by Fan Nanjia. Chapter 46. After Dan Hongning settled Ruan Qingxuang and the others down, he did not dare to waste any more time. He hurriedly drove back to the medicinal cuisine house. Before he went out, he told one of his men to wait for them. Once they finished eating, he would drive them back immediately. Soon, Xiaofei came back with Pang Gang from the hospital. Dan Hongning also got out of the car at this time. Seeing that everyone was here, Su Yin smiled slightly. What do you want to eat? Go take a bath after eating. Kong Zhong and Lu Feng's faces were ashen. Their hearts were filled with an indescribable feeling, as if a bottle of mixed feelings had been knocked over. Brother, it's better to go to my place to eat. Dan Hongning was a little puzzled. He really wanted to stay in his shop and curry favor with boss sister and police flower Qin. Su Yin glared at him. If I could go, I would have gone earlier. Do you think I want to save money for you? Don't talk nonsense. You are the owner of a tofu shop. You must know where to eat. Lead the way. Get in the car. Su Yun's face showed an impatient look. The three tigers of Nanqing instantly felt like they were walking on thin ice. They were all careful and did not dare to talk nonsense. After everyone got in the car, Dan Hongning led the way to an ecological park restaurant. He directly asked for the highest standard of 300 yuan per person, plus 2 bottles of the most expensive white wine. Dan Hongning still did not know why they had to take a bath after eating. He was very puzzled. It was not until the meal that he learned that Su Yun's so-called bath was to go to Fan Nanjia's Tropical Rainforest Bath Center. He almost had a nervous breakdown. Chang told him all he knew. The Tropical Rainforest Bath Center is Fan Nanjia's painstaking effort. It is said that he spent a lot of money to open this bath center. Every night, he will go to the VIP box on the 4th floor of the bath center to relax. Anyway, it would be a waste if he did not play with his own lady. Get to the point. Su Yin knocked on the table. Yes. Chang's face was embarrassed for a moment. He continued, Fan Nanjia has a lot of thugs in his bath center. First, they are to watch the lady. Second, they are to prevent customers who want to rob him. Third, he is a careful person. He knows that he has offended a lot of people over the years, so there are many people to protect him wherever he goes. Su Yin nodded. Then let's go to the 4th floor. Chang scratched his head. Well, the 4th floor is the place to look for high-class ladies. Only VIP members are allowed to go up. Also, he has 2 brothers who fight fiercely as bodyguards. Which one of you has a card? Su Yin directly looked at the 3 tigers of Nanqing, and did not listen to any bodyguards. Kong Zhong and Lu Feng looked at each other and shook their heads. Fan Nanjia was a black-hearted guy. He had to deposit 20,000 yuan at a time to be a VIP member, and the price of thousands of yuan for those senior ladies was really too high. After all, Hedong was not a big city like Yanjing and Jiangbei, and the tropical rainforest was not a big club like Heavenly Earth. The charge was too ridiculous. When Dan Hongning saw that everyone was looking at him, he smiled bitterly. I don't have one either. I want one, but it's too expensive. The three of you drive such a good car, but you're not even willing to buy a card for a bath center? Well, then you can pool the money and buy one for me. Su Yin did not mind scraping some money from the three people. Su Yin had spoken. The three people did not dare to disobey and nodded. When everyone came to the bath center, the three tigers of Nanching really paid for a high-class membership card for Su Yin. Then everyone went in to take a bath. Although it was said to take a bath, in fact it was just wandering around in bathrobes. Su Yin soon learned about the terrain of the entire bath center. The first floor was the lobby and some offices of the Tropical Rainforest Bath Center. Inside these offices were the two people in charge of the bath center, and a dozen or so hired thugs. There were also two brothels who organized the prostitutes, the so-called chicken head. The first floor of the basement was a proper place to take a bath. The decoration was very tropical rainforest flavor. The elephant head spraying water and the resin simulation tree in the center of the pool had a different charm. On the second floor was the rest hall for foot massage. And there were more than 20 small rooms for massage. The so-called small healthcare was on this floor. Japanese massage, Thai massage, and so on were normal. The third floor was the legendary big healthcare. All the people who went there had bad intentions. To put it bluntly, they came for prostitution. The top 4 floors were the so-called senior members' floors. If there was no membership card, they were not allowed to enter, so they did not go up to see. In fact, Su Yun's purpose was very clear. He wanted to find the secret door that could sneak out of the bath center. There was a secret door in the west corner of each floor. Behind the secret door was a hidden staircase. The staircase led directly to the west wall of the first floor. Since he found what he was looking for, Su Yun no longer wasted time. Dan Hongning, I'll leave the front door to you. Lu Feng, you'll guard the back door. Kong Zhong, you know the approximate location of the secret door on the west wall. You have no problem with that place, right? Su Yun smiled slightly. I'll give you an hour. Go out and gather your brothers. Secretly guard outside for me. Once there's chaos inside, no matter if it's a guest or a lady, no matter if it's a thug or Fan Nanjia, no one can let anyone escape. Understand? The three of them looked at each other. No one knew what Su Yin wanted to do, but they still nodded. Brother Peng, you follow Dan Hongning. Xiao Fei, you follow Kong Zhong. Chang and Lu Feng will partner up. Su Yin finally arranged a supervisor for each of them. I'll leave the outside to you. If anyone runs out of the door, you tell me. These words made the three tigers of Nanching sweat. It seemed that Su Yin did not trust them to that extent. However, this really hit the three of them. If it wasn't in front of Su Yin, they didn't want to believe that they could be so obedient. Brother Yin, can you do it yourself? Although Chang already knew about Su Yin's methods, he still asked worriedly. Su Yin smiled and pulled Chang to the side. He whispered, "Do you know why I asked you to watch Lu Feng?" Chang nodded. He's the most unconvinced. You can say that. Su Yin. Brother wants to catch a turtle in a jar. All you have to do is let them guard the door. Even if it's a prostitute, you can't let them go. Chang nodded. After all, Su Yin had never seen Fan Nanjia. There were so many VIP rooms on the 4th floor. How could he know if Fan Nanjia would take advantage of the chaos and escape? Moreover, the police would need to catch the adulterers in bed. After everything was done, Su Yin went upstairs to spend money. The others also went to do their own things. The three tigers of Nanching started to call people when they came out of the bath center. Chang also called a few trustworthy brothers and placed them in the 3 teams. Su Yin went straight to the bath center's 4th floor through the elevator. When the door opened, it was completely different from the one downstairs. "Hello, sir." A beautiful girl with a pure appearance was guarding the elevator with a smile. She bowed to Su Yin professionally. Her thighs under her miniskirt were instantly exposed. The big V-shaped shirt on her chest could almost be described as transparent. The breasts inside were aggressive. "Girl, what are you doing with your clothes that don't cover your body?" Su Yin showed the senior membership card in his hand. "It's my first time here. I don't know much. Can you introduce me?" "Handsome, you really know how to joke." The beautiful girl with a pure appearance didn't look down on Su Yin because he was dressed in flowery pants and flip-flops. She still maintained a professional smile. "Please come here. I will carefully introduce the service to you." This kind of woman didn't care if the man was handsome or not, nor did she care if the man was stylish. Their goal was very clear. It was the senior membership card in the customer's hand. Even if the person holding the card was penniless, there was a lot of money in the card. For them, the 30% commission was the most important thing. As long as someone came to this floor, they would do everything they could to squeeze the numbers in these people's cards. In the corridor on the 4th floor, in addition to 2 neat male waiters, there were all enchanting women with scantily clad clothes. When they saw Su Yin, they all smiled. Someone said to the pure-looking girl beside Su Yin, "Number 18 is really lucky to receive such a handsome customer. Do you want to take your sisters to play threesome?" Number 18 looked at Su Yin and saw that he wasn't interested, so she waved to her sisters. "If the customer needs me, I will naturally look for you." Soon, Su Yin was taken to a huge luxurious room. The huge round bed inside looked like it could roll 3 or 5 people at the same time. "Handsome, do you think it's okay for me to serve you?" The innocent-looking girl number 18 closed the door and instantly twisted her graceful body. Su Yin clicked his tongue in praise. Really exciting. The young ladies of this place are different from the pheasants in the hair-washing room on Bowen Street. They have temperament at first glance. Maybe they have a university degree. "Okay, I'll take you." Number 18 closed the door. "Then let's do it one by one, okay? By the way, has Fan Nanjia come?" Su Yin lay down on the bed. "He's your boss." Number 18 was startled. "Do you know Boss Fan?" "I don't know him." Su Yin nodded and waved the senior membership card in his hand. "Doesn't he come every day? I want to get to know him. I spent so much money here, so I can ask him for a cigarette." Number 18 covered her mouth and laughed. "Handsome, you really know how to joke." Of course, Boss Fan is not such a stingy person, but he can't come at this time. It should be half an hour. Half an hour. Su Yin looked up at the hanging watch in the room. It was now 8:30. "Handsome, then let's do Star Wars first, okay?" Number 18 smiled coquettishly and held down a pair of breasts with both hands. "This is my service to you. It's free." F***CK. Su Yin thought, this place is definitely black enough. They even charge a separate fee for breasts? Alas, looking at number 18 who looks so pure and innocent, it's really a waste of her youth. I don't know whose child she is. If her family knows, they will definitely be heartbroken. Just at the moment when the pure-looking girl threw herself on Su Yin's hand chopped her cervical vertebra. Number 18's eyes turned black, and her body directly pressed on Su Yin's body without any support. Although soft, it was really heavy. Su Yin got up and turned the pure-looking girl off his body. He took a deep breath. Half an hour was very difficult to endure. If he didn't knock out such a seductress, he was really afraid that he wouldn't be able to control himself and wouldn't be able to keep his purity. Chapter 47. Half an hour passed quickly, and Su Yin paid close attention to the sounds outside the room. Finally, he heard a few women softly greeting him. "Hello, Boss Fan." Then a man cursed in a hoarse voice. "Motherf ****. I'm going to deal with that little b****tch at the police station sooner or later. How dare she kidnap my people? She doesn't know her place." Su Yin's expression was cold. Of course, he knew who the little b****tch at the police station was. It seemed that the news of Wei Weiming and the others being taken away by Qin Wen'er soon reached Fan Nanjia's ears. "Brother Jia, is Weiming too careless? How could he offend that Qin girl?" A woman's voice was sharp and harsh, like the sound of a blade cutting across a table. Fan Nanjia said coldly, I've told him several times to avoid that little b asterisk tch surname Chin. It's impossible for him not to listen to me. It seems that little b asterisk tch surname Chin has her eyes on my saber and axe gang after taking over the 4th Wolf Gang. Hearing Fan Nanjia's words, the woman couldn't help but take a deep breath. Brother Jia, what should we do? Should we find a way to ask the police to make an exception? It's useless. Fan Nanjia gritted his teeth. Because the director of the Municipal Public Security Bureau is a person who doesn't listen to reason or force. I've sent gifts many times and they've all rejected me. It's not as simple as we think. Brother Jia, there's no leader who doesn't accept gifts, just like there's no cat that doesn't eat fish. I think you haven't found the trick, right? The woman laughed sinisterly. Why don't you let me try? Fan Nanjia spat and scolded. Get out of here. What else can a b asterisk tch like you do besides spreading your legs? Humph, it seems that after today, I'll have to close the bathing center for a few days. If the police want to make things difficult for me, this is the only place where they can find evidence to convict me. Convict? Ha ha ha, Brother Jia, this is a big crime for organizing young girls to sell their bodies. They are still underage. The woman's voice gave Su Yun goosebumps. Then let me have a taste of what it's like to be underage. Fan Nanjia said and laughed. Then Su Yun heard the sound of the door closing. Su Yun looked up at his watch. It had been 50 minutes since he gave the order to Chang and the 3 tigers of Nanchang. They should be ready by now. Thinking of this, Su Yun rubbed his fists and cracked his neck. Today he would let Fan Nanjia know who he could mess with and who he could not. Su Yun pushed open the door and happened to bump into a passing waiter. The waiter was slightly startled. What can I do for you? Before he could finish, Su Yun slapped the waiter's head against the wall and knocked him unconscious. This move was too quick. Several young ladies in the corridor on the 4th floor stopped and looked at Su Yun. Su Yun said lightly, "Which room is Fan Nanjia in?" As soon as the voice fell, the young ladies screamed and fled to their rooms. 2 people came out of a storage room next to the elevator. One of them was a burly man, and the other was a rude and unreasonable-looking young man. Both of them didn't look like good people. Both of them had cold smiles on their faces as they walked towards Su Yun ferociously. How dare you say Brother Jia's name? The rude and unreasonable young man sneered. Suddenly, a silver light flashed, and with a whoosh, a pure steel rod appeared in the young man's hand. He did not hesitate to swing the rod in his hand and smashed it toward Su Yun's forehead. Su Yun dodged slightly to the side, and with a move of blade snatching empty-handed, he snatched the staff. Suddenly, a muffled thud rang out, as the staff that Su Yun had snatched from him had smashed onto the young man's head. Blood silently flowed down from his forehead, and the young man fell straight to the ground without uttering a single word. The other burly man was not willing to let this happen. He suddenly pulled out his fist and rushed forward. His fist carried a fierce wind as if 10,000 horses were galloping. Su Yun casually threw away the rod in his hand and raised his hand to block. The burly man's fist was firmly held by Su Yun with one hand. He could not move even an inch. The burly man's heart skipped a beat. He looked up and saw a harmless smiling face looking at him. Without waiting for the burly man to react, Su Yun's fist carried a piercingly cold gust of wind and smashed the burly man's nose with an unstoppable force, causing his face to split open. His entire lips were badly mutilated, and countless teeth fell out. The burly man covered his face and screamed. Su Yun mercilessly followed up and kicked him in the heart. The burly man's chest suddenly felt stuffy. He flew back 5 meters and fainted without even making a sound. The young ladies who were hiding in the crack of the door and looking out were so scared that they closed the door with a bang. The few people who had seen Su Yun before were even more frightened. They thought that fortunately, it was number 18 who received him and not them. They didn't know if she had already been killed or not. Su Yun went straight to the room full of young ladies. He knocked on the door and asked, "Which room is Fan Nanjia in?" The young lady inside said in a trembling voice, "408. What's going on outside?" The woman who was rolling on the bed suddenly stopped twisting her body and looked at the door with a frown. There was obviously a fight outside. Fan Nanjia, who was under the woman, said disapprovingly, "Humph, even if someone dares to trouble me, Wu Fei and Wu Tian will definitely let him die at the door. Ha ha ha, you can rest assured and continue twisting. I'm happy and you're happy. The noise had subsided. Fan Nanjia thought that Wu Fei and Wu Tian must have dealt with the people. These two brothers had helped him a lot. Wu Fei was more powerful and thick-skinned than others since he was a child. Although Wu Tian was not as strong as his brother, he was ruthless and merciless. This was the reason why Fan Nanjia brought these two brothers with him. He was relieved to have them guarding the door. Clang. Before the woman on Fan Nanjia could make a sound, the door was kicked open. A not-so-tall figure stood at the door. He was wearing a bathrobe from the bath center, and disposable slippers that he had changed into when he entered the private room. You're Fan Nanjia. Su Yin only glanced at the naked woman, and then his eyes stopped at the fierce-looking guy on the bed. He had a fierce face, sharp shoulders, eyes, and a palm-sized guanine jade around his neck. It was clear and bright, and probably worth a lot. You're looking for me? Fan Nanjia's eyelids twitched. Obviously, he did not expect that Wu Fei and Wu Tian would be the ones who fell after the fight. The young man in front of him looked completely unfamiliar, and did not feel familiar at all. Su Yin walked into the room without hesitation. He pulled a chair in the corner, and sat beside Fan Nanjia's bed. Fan Nanjia was worthy of being the youth army, supported by the big bosses of the other 3 territories. Even if he knew that this uninvited guest had defeated the 2 fierce generals outside the door, he still remained calm. The woman on the bed couldn't stand a man sitting next to her looking at her riding on the man's body. She screamed and wrapped herself in the quilt, wanting to escape. How could Fan Nanjia be willing to be seen naked by a man? He snatched the quilt wrapped around the woman's body and covered himself. The woman ran out of the room naked and screamed like crazy. She ran to the room full of prostitutes. The two confronted each other. Although Fan Nanjia was not yet 30, he had been in the underworld of Hudong City for more than 10 years. He had seen a lot of things, so he still had some momentum. However, after a few seconds, Fan Nanjia could not hold it in anymore. Beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. The young man in front of him was not an ordinary person. Fan Nanjia had never seen his cold eyes and sharp momentum. Finally, Fan Nanjia could not help but ask, "Who are you?" "Su Yin." "Brother, I don't think we know each other. What did I do to offend you?" Although Fan Nanjia's face did not change, he had to admit that he did not want to offend this person in front of him. Su Yin put his foot on Fan Nanjia's bed. "Who is Wei Weiming to you?" "He's my cousin." Fan Nanjia stared at Su Yin in shock. He could not figure out how Wei Weiming could have offended such a dangerous person. "That's right." Su Yin stretched out his hand. "Your cousin injured 7 of my renovation workers. 30,000 yuan for each of them. Cut the crap and pay up." Fan Nanjia's heart was filled with anger. He had never heard Wei Weiming mention this person in front of him, but this kid in front of him was asking for an exorbitant price. He really looked down on him. "Brother, if my people did anything wrong, I apologize to you here. But don't you think you're asking for too much money?" Su Yin sneered. "Now the price has gone up. 50,000 per person. I'm giving you face. Do you think I'm a coward?" Although Fan Nanjia was annoyed, he suppressed his anger. He did not know why, but he did not have the courage to turn on this person. Su Yin ignored Fan Nanjia. He smiled and made a phone call. "Have you finished eating?" Qin Wan, and the others had just been driven back to the medicinal cuisine restaurant by Dan Hongning's people when they received Su Yin's call. She could not help but ask, "Where have you been?" "I'm at the Tropical Rainforest Bath Center, doing healthcare." Su Yin grinned. "My initial estimate is that there are more than 100 ladies here. Do you want to check?" Qin Wan immediately understood Su Yin's meaning. "Wait for me." Su Yin hung up the phone and looked at Fan Nanjia with a bright smile. "Do you know who I called?" Fan Nanjia gritted his teeth, but he stressed to himself again and again that as long as all the guests could be safely evacuated, even if the police came, it would be useless. "Since you've turned against me, then don't blame me." Fan Nanjia suddenly lifted the quilt, reached for the ashtray on the bedside table, and threw it at Su Yin. Su Yin did not even get up. He reached out and blocked the ashtray, smiling as he watched Fan Nanjia run away naked. Then, Su Yun calmly took out Fan Nanjia's wallet from his pocket. There was not much money, but he found a BMW car key. Fan Nanjia rushed out of the room and roared, "Run, all of you! The police will be here soon." After shouting, Fan Nanjia was the first to rush to the stairs of the secret door. He didn't dare to take the elevator. If someone cut off the electricity, he would be trapped inside. After he shouted, the whole bathing center immediately fell into chaos. Chaotic footsteps sounded in the corridor. The fourth floor affected the third floor, and the third floor affected the second floor. Gradually, all the way down to the second floor, startled the lovers on the bed. Chapter 48. Su Yun stuffed the car key into his pocket and walked out of the room unhurriedly. The guests and ladies in the corridor were all disheveled. It seemed that Fan Nanjia's business was quite good. No wonder he was in the mood to play every day. Run as fast as you can. Su Yun was too lazy to pay attention to the crowd rushing down the stairs. His men blocked all 3 doors. He wanted to see how they could escape. Seeing that no one dared to take the elevator, Su Yun swaggered up and went all the way to the bathroom on the basement floor to change his clothes. Because of Fan Nanjia's roar, there was no one in the bathroom. Who wasn't afraid of the police? There weren't many gentlemen who came to this place to take a bath in the summer. A few guests who just came and pulled up their pants and ran out. Su Yun walked out of the bathroom and went to the first floor. The entire hall was crowded at the door. Dan Hongning held a machete in his hand and stood boldly at the entrance of the bathroom. Behind him, Pang Gang and more than 50 brothers also held their heads high, holding steel pipes and iron rods in their hands majestically. Whoever dares to step out of this door, I'll chop them up. Dan Hongning waved the machete in his hand, exuding an unreasonable aura. Who said he was only running Dolua City? He wasn't even 18 years old when he started chopping people up. The 2 people in charge stared at each other. They couldn't figure out what was going on. The guests were dumbfounded. How could they have known that they would encounter such a heart-wrenching situation? What was this? Coming out to play was too cowardly. Upstairs, they heard that the police were coming. How did it turn into a gang fight in an instant? The dozen thugs who were originally guarding the bath center were also standing in the hall, but facing Dan Hongning and more than 50 people. They didn't dare to mess around for a while. The leader threatened. "This is Brother Jia's place. You don't want to live anymore, do you?" Dan Hongning made up his mind. "I don't care whose place this is. Today, even Fan Nanjia won't be able to leave here." Looking at the situation, some of the smarter ladies had already sneaked to the back door. The hired thugs were also hinting that all the guests should go through the back door. But they didn't know that the back door wouldn't work either. Lu Feng was the most ruthless of the 3. Close to 100 people were guarding the back. All of them were chopping swords. Under the street lights, there was a trace of cold light. Chang did not expect this guy to be able to call over so many people. In his heart, he admired Cho Yun from the bottom of his heart. Lu Feng, such a fierce person, was actually acting like a grandson in front of Cho Yun. Just who was Cho Yun? Lu Feng's men blocked the back door with 3 layers inside and 3 layers outside. Even if he didn't say anything, those who came to the back door would all go soft. Who would dare to go out? What was the difference between that and courting death? Dark Clan. That was the only escape route. But even Fan Nanjia couldn't get out of this secret door. "Brother Jia, I'm really sorry, I have no choice." Kong Zhong smiled awkwardly. "If you want to go out, it's better to go through the front door or the back door. I don't dare to let you go here." Fan Nanjia glared at Kong Zhong. He didn't know where he found a bathrobe and put it on. His voice was full of hatred. "All right, Kong Zhong, I, Fan Nanjia, have never touched your battlefield. Today you're the first to ride on my head? I'd like to see how long you can jump. If I don't kill you, my surname isn't Fan." Kong Zhong would be lying if he said he wasn't worried, but he was more afraid of Su Yun and Cho Yun. "Brother Jia, I said I had no choice. Don't hold a grudge against me. Why don't you go to the front door and back door and ask Dan Hongning and Lu Feng if they dare to let you out?" "You." Fan Nanjia gritted his teeth. He couldn't wait to tear Kong Zhong apart. Go back. Xiao Fei grabbed a knife from Kong Zhong's underling and pointed it directly in front of Fan Nanjia. Xiao Fei was impulsive when he thought of how this person forced his uncle to be so miserable. Fan Nanjia's chin trembled a few times. He didn't say a word. He swallowed his anger and ran to the front door. Motherf *Ker, this is my territory. I don't believe I can't get out. He was ready to take the dozen of thugs and directly break through the front door guarded by Dan Hongning. However, Su Yun wouldn't give him the chance. When Fan Nanjia came to the front door hall, his dozen of thugs were already lying on the ground. Su Yun was impatiently knocking on the table at the front desk, and the girl at the front desk was taking out stacks of money. Dan Hongning saw the scene just now clearly. He had never seen such a fierce person. The dozen of thugs weren't even a fart in front of Su Yun. Su Yun didn't take them seriously at all. They were all taken care of in a few punches and kicks. Although Su Yun's moves were simple, they carried an insufferably domineering aura. His fists smashed into a bloody mess. Dan Hongning was really glad that he made the choice. If he were to become enemies with this person in front of him, he would definitely die more miserably than if he offended Cho Yun. That's all? Su Yun looked at the hundreds of thousands of dollars at the front desk and said with some dissatisfaction. The girl at the front desk was already weak in the legs. Today's turnover is only this much. Fan Nanjia's heart was filled with anger, but when he saw his men lying on the ground, he forced himself to swallow his anger. Brother, as a person, take a step back and you'll have a better life. Take the money, and I'll treat today's matter as if nothing happened. Su Yun looked at Fan Nanjia, who had hit a wall, and sneered. Take a step back? But as a person, you're forcing people into a desperate situation. Without waiting for Fan Nanjia to speak, Su Yun said to Pang Gang at the front door. Brother Pang, come here. Take this money. Treat it as compensation for the hospital workers. It's not much, so don't mind it. By the way, there's $20,000 for Xiao Dan, and the other two. They paid for me just now. At this moment, Fan Nanjia suddenly realized why he was defeated today after seeing Pang Gang. However, he couldn't understand how Pang Gang, a pauper from the slums, could find such a fierce person to be his backer. Pang Gang strode forward and took the money from Su Yun. I can't thank you enough. If Brother Yun needs me to do anything in the future, just say the word. Pang Gang won't hesitate even if I have to sacrifice my life. Su Yun just grinned. His phone vibrated in his pocket. He took it out and saw a text message from Qin Wan. My people and I are here. When are you letting your people go? Do you want me to catch them as well? Haha. Su Yun couldn't help but laugh. It seemed that Comrade Qin Wan had started to form a tacit understanding with him. He waved his hand and said, Brothers, let's go. Go back and ask Boss Dan for a red packet. Xiao Dan, take Brother Pang away. At the same time, the siren sounded. Dan Hongning and the others were shocked. They had to retreat quickly. Brother Yin had already spoken. If they didn't retreat, they would be unlucky if they were caught. He went forward and grabbed Pang Gang to escape. Fan Nanjia panicked. His eyes lit up, and he wanted to escape in the chaos. Su Yun wouldn't give him the chance. His figure flashed, and he appeared in front of Fan Nanjia. Run. Su Yun's smile disappeared. He suddenly stopped the panicked Fan Nanjia. With a beautiful knee strike, he threw Fan Nanjia with a terrifying force. Fan Nanjia almost vomited out the food he had eaten last night. A trapped beast would always break out. Fan Nanjia was now a trapped beast. He knew that if he wanted to escape, he had to kill the guy in front of him. Fan Nanjia, whose mind was in a mess, swung his arm and threw an uppercut. Su Yun, of course, blocked Fan Nanjia's uppercut as expected. Then his own fist hit Fan Nanjia's face. Fan Nanjia's face was covered with blood and flesh. His whole body flew out like a swing and hit the front desk of the bath center. The beautiful cashier was so scared that she quickly squatted down and covered her head. Trash. Su Yun waved his hand and looked around. It seemed that his people had all run away. Qin Wan also appeared with a team of policemen. The guests and ladies who were disheveled were already scared out of their wits. They covered their heads and squatted down. Su Yun whistled to Qin Wan from afar. Then he pointed at Fan Nanjia, who was lying on the ground. Without waiting for Qinwaner to come over, Suyin had already turned around and walked to the back door. The people at the back door, and the Dark Clan had also retreated. Only Xiaoqiang and Xiaofei were still waiting for Suyin at the back door. "Brother, you asked Officer Qin to come, right?" Chang asked with a puzzled face. "We can handle it ourselves. Why do we need the police to get involved?" "Are you stupid? This is called revenge. The police came and changed. We are now a police cooperation den." Suyin smiled and took out the BMW car key from his pocket and threw it to Chang. "Where is Fan Nanjia's car?" Xiangzi and Xiaofei looked at each other. Holy sh*t, Brother Yin is too awesome. He even took Fan Nanjia's car? Soon, Chang found Fan Nanjia's BMW 5 Series sedan. The three of them got in the car and disappeared. "Brother, we're taking the car just like that?" Chang had never driven such a good car since he was young. He was in high spirits all the way. Suyin hit him on the head directly. "Are you stupid? How can we take this car? Find a place to sell it at a low price. Anyway, Fan Nanjia will be sentenced to at least 3 to 5 years. No one will check where his car went. If you drive it, you will be looking for trouble." Chang nodded. Brother Yun's words were reasonable. The car really couldn't be kept. But this top BMW 535, even if it was a black car, could it be sold for 100,000 yuan? Thinking of this, Chang was so excited that he stepped on the accelerator a little deeper. The three tigers of Nanqing very consciously drove to the medicinal cuisine restaurant. Dan Hongning told Kong Zhong and Lu Feng the scene he saw in the front hall without exaggeration. When the two heard that Su Yin could kill more than a dozen of Fan Nanjia's thugs in seconds, they both had a skeptical look on their faces. Cho Yun heard the sound and came down from upstairs. She asked with a questioning face, "Why are you here?" The three of them looked at each other. "Sister Yin, we are waiting for Brother Yin." Wan Qingshuang and Guogua also couldn't hold back their curiosity and came down. "Where did Su Yin go? Why hasn't he come back yet?" "Hello, big sister Shuang." This greeting was absolutely respectful, and it gave Wan Qingshuang a fright. Guogua was quite proud. "Call me Sister Gua." The three of them looked at each other. For a while, they didn't know whether to respond or not. But Kong Zhong still decided to be obedient and smiled. "Sister Gua. Guogua, don't mess around." Wan Qingshuang stared at Guogua and then said to the three of them, "Where is Su Yun?" "Brother Yin should be back soon." Dan Hongning said carefully, "Sister Shuang, don't worry." A titanium 5 Series BMW screeched to a stop at the entrance of the medicinal cuisine house. Chang quickly got out of the car and quickly opened the back door. Suyin got out of the car and walked out. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.